Hello, everyone, and welcome to A Fistful of Dice. My name is Matt, and this is Provokers Session 7. I'm really sorry I have to do this, but I have to go to the emergency room, so I have to cancel tonight's session. I'm really sorry. No, I'm just kidding. We're actually playing tonight, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Sorry for the long wait. It's been about a month and a half since you've last seen us, but I'm super pumped to return to Aeronoth and do some provoking with these guys. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves, plug their channels, and briefly reintroduce their characters, which, as if they need to. You guys know them. You guys love them. We're going to go ahead and start with my man, Barker.
First of all, you totally got me there, man. I was like, wait, what? We're not playing? What happened? You have to go to the ER? What happened? Is everybody okay?
I just stubbed my foot on my subwoofer. I need to go to the emergency room.
Yeah. No, I hate to say that my mind went directly to, we're not playing tonight, instead of, is everybody okay? My name is Barker. I run the channel Be a Better Game Master and the site beabettergamemaster.com. I'm also one of 3 awesome dudes on the Roll Up and Die podcast that you can find at facebook.com/rollupanddie or beabettergamemaster.com. Hopefully this evening, barring a few technical issues, I'm updating my Mac OS currently to try to fix some stuff, but hopefully that by midnight tonight, Pacific time, you will all have your wonderful podcast on Sunday. So I'm playing dice. He's a wizard. He's kind of coming into his own, and yeah, I'm just excited to be here, and I'm happy that Teal is okay, Matt, and I'm happy to be provoking again. I've been waiting a long time for this, and I'm going to throw it to my man, Nate.
Yep, my name is Nate. I have the YouTube channel WASD20, and I now have a website, WASD20.net, and I am playing Erdon Saroshent. He is a wood elf. He is a fighter. And that's about all I have to say about that. I'm going to throw it over to Tim.
What's up, guys? I am Tim. I am half of Tabletop Terrors. We have a YouTube channel that's entertainment-focused resources, for tabletop RPGs. We also have tabletopterrors.com. And we're doing a big relaunch on May 4th is when everything starts. Don't expect too much. It's just a relaunch in our minds. So, you can put away your 3D glasses. But I'm playing Durgan Blood Mountain, the Dwarven Paladin. And I'm really excited to see where tonight's adventure goes. And so I'll throw it to our man, the master and lord of the tabletop RPG one-shot group, Mr. Juice.
I'm a little disappointed. I just bought some 3D glasses to, for your relaunch, but
yeah, you and me
I'll
both.
Throw them away.
Yeah.
Put them in the bin outside the theater. Don't throw them away. Put them in the bin.
I'll donate them to charity. Yeah, so I'm Juice from Tabletop Gaming with Juice on YouTube. I have a website as well. It's rpgjuice.com, and that's Juice without the I, by the way. And what else am I plugging right now? Oh, gosh. I just did a couple homebrew things on my blog, on my website, so go check those out for Shields for 5th edition. And then I'll be starting a campaign this week called the Anvil Ringers, so go check all that out.
Very nice. And Tim, I can't remember if you said he's playing Durgan Blood Mountain, and Juice is playing Brasswick Feeblehammer.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah, I'm playing that guy.
Yeah.
This guy.
That guy. Awesome. Okay, yeah, we're going to go ahead and get started here. I don't think we have any more nonsense to get out of the way, so let's play some D&D.
Do it.
So, we begin this session in a small hut in the woods known as Shade Vale. A strange, ethereal wood. The trees grow up around gigantic Leviathan bones. The bones, the scholars say, are from an ancient creature known as a primordial, and once, long, long ago, these creatures roamed the land of Aeronoth and shaped the mountains and the valleys with their footsteps. It's said that the gods struck these primordials down, that when these primordials bled, they gave birth to the dragons, and that when the gods bled, they gave birth to mortal life. And so Shade Vale is something of a cradle of life, and the elves of Shade Vale know this well. They build their homes within the bones, and the great city of Shade Vale proper is built within the rib cage of this great, massive beast. In this small hut, there's a young elven boy. We know him, though not as he is now. His name is Erdon Saroshent. Erdon, what does your family's hut look like here in Shade Vale?
It is meticulously clean. My mother has seen to that. It is, decorated very nicely. My father has a high rank in the Shade Vale Guard, and so they have spared no expense. Yet it is simple, Spartan. This is the way of my people.
Perfect. Your younger sister, she's still just a baby by elven standards, very, very young. She's on the floor with you, playing with a couple of wooden toys, and your mother stands at the hearth, and she's stirring a pot of stew for dinner. She keeps looking towards the door expectantly, waiting for your father to get home from his guard shift. And she says, Erdon, make sure your sister does not hurt herself.
Yes, Mother. And I move over to her, and I sit cross-legged on the floor, looking pleasantly at her and smiling, and I begin to play with her.
She says, your mother says, you're the big brother. When your father isn't here, you're the man of the house, Erdon. You must watch over your little sister and take care of her always.
Of course, Mother, of course.
And when she gets bigger, she's going to look up to you, just as she looks up to your father and I.
Yes. Father is very brave. Everyone looks up to him.
And the conversation is broken as a horn blows in the distance. And it fades into the distance, and your mother stands upright, dropping the ladle on the soup as she looks towards the door and waits in the silence following the horn blow. The door to the hut bursts open, and there, standing in the doorway, tall, regal, armored, carrying the family sword, is your father, Erdon. His face is shining with sweat. His lungs are taking in great gasps of air. He briefly looks to you, Erdon, and to your sister, and then locks eyes with your mother, and he says, we need to leave, now. Gather the children, no time to pack, we are leaving. And your sister begins to cry. And your father says, damn it, Erdon, grab your sister, we're leaving. Listen to me, boy.
What's happening?
No time for questions, we're leaving. And he grabs you by the back of your neck and hauls you up to your feet and says, go, we're leaving.
And I rush to my bed, my floor mat, and I begin to hurry the pack, and I take my sister with me. I kind of pull her with me, and I hurriedly pack her things as well, and just roll them up as quickly as we can. And I turn to the door, and I too begin to cry. Father, I'm scared.
Your father wheels on you, and for a second you think he might be rearing back to strike at you, but instead he just places a strong and firm hand on your shoulder, and he kneels down to your level, and he looks you in the eyes, and he says, Erdogan, I need you to be strong right now. I need you to be strong, like I've taught you. There is no time for tears now. And as he says this, we move a few years in the future, and your father's saying, I need you to be strong now, Erdogan. Pick up your sword. And the two of you are standing in a clearing, a few miles away from the meager hut that you now live in the darkest, densest part of the Shade Vale, far from the prying eyes of the leadership of Shade Vale. And your father's holding his curved blade, and he flicks yours up towards you, and he says, pick it up, Erdogan. I need you to be strong. You need to learn how to fight.
And I quickly grab the sword as it kind of scatters my way, and it's clumsy. I catch it partially by the blade and even cut my hand a little bit. But I'm grateful because there have been many other times when he has made me pick it up myself, perhaps as I lay face down in the leaves.
He says, never forgive the mistakes of your enemy, Erdogan, for they will never forgive you of yours. You must exploit every weakness, every flaw you can find in their armor. And you must be strong and steely. You must put up an exterior that they cannot see through. You must not show any weakness that they can exploit. Do you understand me, son?
I understand, and I lunge at him with my sword.
And he brings his blade up to block it, and he says, good, good. You're getting stronger, Erdogan. Now we...
And my jaw is clenched, and you can see every sinew in my neck as I lock blades with him, glaring into his eyes.
And your father glares right back, and his glare is not one... It's not one of a father anymore, and over the last few years, he has become less and less of a father to you and more of a taskmaster. And more you get the sense that he views you as a weapon, Erdogan, a weapon that needs forging, that needs sharpening. And he does so relentlessly.
And in my eyes you see the anger, as if I too do not recognize him as my father, but as my trainer, nothing more. I will use him. I will become good at killing. I will survive.
And survive you do. Nearly a century later, you're an adult now, by Elven standards. Tried and true. You have proven yourself. You're back in Shade Vale, though you hide your true nature, and you hide your true name. You're standing in a line. You are about to become a watcher of the Vale, an elite guardsman. You're standing in line holding the blade. And a woman, an elven woman by the name of Matron Elmira Marrowblade, is strolling down the ranks, inspecting each guard. And as she does so, she places a hand on their shoulder and puts her forehead to theirs in the traditional show of respect in Shade Vale. And as she places her forehead to theirs, she says, "Your blade shall be the blade that protects the trees of Shade Vale." And they repeat the words back to her. And she does this, moving down the line, and she's just about to come to you. Erdogan, you're standing next to your best friend, Endephany. And Endephany, as you're standing there, he goes, "I'm nervous, man."
Me too. And I risk a quick swipe up to my brow to remove the sweat before she gets to me.
Indefinite looks kind of sidelong at you, and he says, "Where do you think they'll post you? Where do you hope to get posted?"
I want danger. I want excitement.
All these other Watchers want to get posted behind the walls of Shade Vale, but you want to be out there, huh?
I want to put my blade to use.
Yeah.
And you?
Well, before I met you, Erdon, I probably would have said, I want a job where I can sit on my ass all day and drink wine, but now I want to be out on the trails with you. I want to fight orcs and trolls and whatever else is out there, saber cats, and I want to be out there, Erdon.
We'll make a good team, you and I.
Yeah, I think so. Oh, shh, 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 shh. And Elmira is approaching, and she stops in front of you, Erdon. And she's standing straight and tall, and she has this massive sword on her back, a great sword. Probably weighs half as much as she does, and it's made out of this almost stone-like black bone. This great bone sword that she is known for. And she stands before you, Erdon, and she looks you up and down, and her gaze seems to linger on you longer than it does the other Watcher initiates. She looks at you and she says, "You came to us a stranger, Erdon, but you stand before me now, a Watcher of Shade Vale. You will be the blade, and the blade will protect the trees of Shade Vale." Repeat it.
I will be the blade that protects the trees of Shade Vale.
And she puts her forehead to yours and moves on. And you know that you are now a Watcher. And Indefinite says, "You know, Erdon, I'm going to need your help." And we go forward a few more years. And Indefinite says, "Erdon, I need your help." And he's limping beside you, putting his full weight on you. And you hear the orcs behind you. You hear their guttural screams as they close in behind you, and arrows whiz past you as the two of you are running through the trees, and blood is streaming from 1,000 cuts on you, and you know you can't carry his weight anymore. And he says again, "Erdon, I need your help."
Just a minute. And as we round a bend where we can't be seen, or perhaps go over the top of a hill where we can't be seen, I look to my left and I see a riverbank, and I push Indefinite, and I say, "Stay quiet!" And I push Indefinite onto the riverbank over a little bluff where he can remain hidden, and I let out a loud cry as I run in the same direction. Ah! And I turn as I'm running, and I let loose one arrow in the general direction of the orcs, and I keep on running.
This arrow strikes true on a particularly large orc. It's an orc that is almost solely responsible for the slaughter of your squad, Erdon. He's close to 7 feet tall, hulking with a large sword as he walks, and you see that his bottom jaw is made of bone, as if he's lost the lower half of his face and replaced it with the bone of the primordial. And he's stalking towards you, and he takes the arrow in the shoulder and keeps coming at you.
I continue to run. I'm trying to draw these orcs away from Indefinite's location as well I can. And you do. I continue to let out a battle cry. Ah! Come! You can't catch me!
You keep running, and they keep following, and you run, and you run, and you run for weeks, for months. You keep running, not from the orcs after you breach the borders of Shade Vale, but running from something else. And you keep running until you find the Wayward Wanderer. It's a dark, stormy night. The rain is coming down in pummeling sheets, soaking through your cloak, and you push through the rickety doors of this inn that you've never been inside before, and the warmth and the smells of this place wash over you. And as you push through the doors, you see that there are people here. In one corner, you see a somewhat haggard-looking half-elven man, and he's preparing to shave, and as you enter the Wayward Wanderer, he looks up at you and locks eyes with you. And at the bar, you see a half-orc, and he's laughing raucously, and he doesn't even acknowledge you as you walk in. Near the half-elven man, you see a humble dwarf sitting there with a book open on the table and a drink, and he seems pleasant. And as he looks at you, he doesn't look at you with the same sort of judging eyes that a dwarf might to an elf. And across the bar, almost keeping to himself, but still a presence, is another dwarf, dark-haired, with an axe, or a giant maul next to him, and he's digging into a plate of food. And you sense something from these people. And you wake up, Erdon. You wake up and you feel something sharp in your hand. You feel something kind of cutting your hand, and as you wake up bleary-eyed, you open your hand and you see that you're holding the scale, the dragon scale that you found in Demeter, and you're holding it so tight that the steeliness of it is cutting into the palm of your hand.
And I quickly release my grasp on the scale, and I look around, and inside my cloak, I hold the scale, and anyone who is looking might see a light reflecting off my face as I hold the scale, and then quickly fade away. And I nod, and I slip it back into a pocket in my tunic.
And you're in a private chamber here in Stone Rift, and it's a day after the King of the Toil was executed. And you hear a knock on the door. Doom, 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 doom. Master Elf! Doom, 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 doom.
What do you want?
Master Elf, they're all meeting. You're the last one to arrive.
All right. And I get up and stretch and crack my neck and kind of stagger toward the door, gathering my things as I go.
There's a dwarven guardsman standing outside of the door, and he says, "They're all in the throne room. I'll take you. The king," he almost says the kings. He says, "The kings, the king is meeting with the Thunderlords, and your friends are there too. Come on, I'll take you." And he leads you through the winding hallways of Stone Rift to the throne room that you entered your first day here. And as you enter the throne room, the first thing you notice is that the rightmost throne, the throne where the King of the Toil sat, is empty. And there's a warhammer kind of leaning up against it. And the skull of Migrog Oakfell, stripped of its flesh, is sitting on a pedestal on the right side of the room. You see that the King of the March, Balrock Hornhelm, is sitting on his throne, leaning back as he listens to the Thunderlords below drone on and on, a dozen or so dwarves, all dressed in fineries. But you see an empty seat next to some familiar faces. And it's been a while since we've seen those familiar faces, and so I'm going to let them introduce their characters, and I'm going to let them describe their characters, because we're 7 sessions in now, and it's been a long, hard 7 sessions. So we're going to go ahead and, starting in initiative order, Dice, how are you looking?
Dice is looking into the masterwork dagger that Erdon gifted to him after their first encounter. the one against the tribal leaders inside the temple, and he's looking at his own reflection and at his cleanly shaven face that he has just shaved today, first time in weeks, and he's but he's looking at more than just that. He's looking at the fact at his eyes, and he's wondering about the fact that they are now like a steel gray color. He looks almost younger than he did before. His face is more gaunt. And he hears Erdon walk into the room because the reverberations in this chamber are thus that you can hear a pebble drop onto the floor in the midst of a rock concert. I mean, it's just everything can be heard. And he kind of glances up and motions to Erdon, and motions to the seat next to him. And then he nudges Brasswick to his right and kind of notes to, hey, Erdon's here. And also notices that Brasswick is reading the tome of Ilmater that he gave him with the spells all sheenly erased out of the margins. Hey, Erdon's here.
As I flip through this book, trying to make out in some pages where the writing is a little bit faded from where these spells were erased out of it, I look up and catch Erdon coming in, and I think to myself, just like an elf, never a sense of urgency. And then I quickly put my book away and look over to Durgan just to see how he's reacting to Erdon showing up late.
So Durgan, kind of near Brasswick, would be mumbling to himself, and he would be mumbling these tenets that are so important to him. But they're not really important to him personally. They're important to what he's supposed to be. Durgan is a paladin by name, but not by faith just yet. And so he's muttering, "Fight the greater evil. No mercy for the wicked. By any means necessary. By any means necessary. Restitution." And he mumbles to himself, almost to Brasswick, as he's hearing these Thunderlords drone on. He can't help but think that it sounds just as inane as a thunderstorm does. Literally rumbling, growling, nothing definitive, nothing clear. And he just thinks to himself, Erdon doesn't talk much. And I've learned to appreciate that.
Oh, I think there are better things you could say about our friend.
I think that's the trait that I wish some of my kinsmen would adopt in this moment.
And the guardsman, Erdon, ushers you over to the empty chair where you can sit beside your friends. And I should note, too, that you weren't waking up from sleep. You were waking up from your meditation that all elves must do to regain their strength and composure. And you're often prone to having dreams of a sort during these meditation periods, but they have been particularly potent and vivid lately. He ushers you over to the chair, and he says, "They've just begun. You haven't missed much."
And I take my seat and I say, "Friends, you underestimate elven hearing. I heard every word you were saying," and I point to my pointed ears.
And Dice points to Durgan. It wasn't me, it was him.
And I slap Brasswick on the back as I sit down and say, "The only thing I'm in a hurry about is Getting some food. I'm famished.
And seeing that the Provokers are all here, the Thunder Lords are going back and forth saying, "We must go to Falhast's aid. If they've been attacked, we have to go now." And others are saying, what have the people of Falhast ever done for us? They can fight off a small incursion by themselves. And other dwarves are saying, "We must fortify our own defenses against the Corruptor's army." And they're all going back and forth, and Balrock Hornhelm leans forward in his seat and locks eyes with the Provokers. And all he does is he holds up one gauntleted hand, and the Thunder Lords shut up. He basically goes, no more talking. And you guys have all seen him in his sort of resplendent sort of robes and his jewels and stuff, but today he's wearing armor. Very simple, functional armor. And he leans forward in his seat, and the metal plates and the armor creak as he sits forward, and you can hear the chainmail rattling underneath. And he looks at you four and he says, "The way I see it, these four are the only ones who've actually fought the being known as the Corruptor. And from what I understand, one of them has some personal interest in the preservation of the city of Falhast. Allow them to speak. We have hidden in our halls for too long, brothers. We must now look to outside eyes and hear outside voices. Speak, you four. What do you advise we do?"
Dice recognizes that he was being somewhat addressed. And he looks to his companions before speaking to see if any of them have anything to say.
Durgan would sort of nod at him like, "It's cool with me."
Brasswick locks eyes with Dice and just kind of nods as well, like, "Go ahead."
Dice lets out a sigh, like a, and he stands up, and he said, he looks, pretty much addresses everybody in the room. "It's true. Falhast is under attack, and I'm not the most non-biased person in this room, I'm sure, when it comes to strategies or battle plans. There's a little girl in Falhast right now. She's not my daughter, but I know her as one. When I met my wife, this little girl, was her daughter. And when we wed, I never could have realized, I never could have known how much she would affect my life, being just a small girl that wasn't related to me by blood in any way. Her mother and I, we served in the guard, fighting bullywug tribes primarily. And one day, Meredith, she went on a scouting raid. It shouldn't have been a raid. And he kind of pauses himself and gets back to the point. She didn't come back. The local lord decided that Holly, her life would best be served living with her father in Falhast. And I didn't know what else to do, so I joined the army. And now I'm looking at all the things I've been given. I've been given food and pay by military service. I've been given these abilities that I that I never realized I had until my adult life. I've been given items upon me. I've been given this staff, and he holds up his staff. In a way, I've been given this masterwork dagger, and he looks at Eridon, from one of my best friends, and he sheaths it, and he says, I've been given changes upon my face and upon my body and upon my clothes, and my worst fear now is not Holly or anyone else succumbing to this attack on Falhast. No, my worst fear is that we get there and we save the day, and she sees me from the distance and walks right by me because she just doesn't recognize me anymore. And if there's one thing that I've got that I know is me beneath everything, it's that I am a man of my word. And he looks at Eridon. And yesterday, I told that elf that as soon as possible I would get him out of here and to his realm of Shade Vale. That I would do everything in my power to help him get home, if only for a moment. I don't know about you. I don't know about your dwarves. I don't know. I just know what I plan on doing. And Dice walks back to the chair and sits.
As he sits next to me, I place my hand on his shoulder in a moment of solidarity.
There's a heavy silence that follows your speech, Barker, and some of the Thunderlords kind of exchange glances, looking at each other, and Balrog is watching you, and he just has this curious look on his face as he's watching you come sit back down, and he sees Brasswick put his hand on your shoulder, and he says, I understand better than most that you can have brothers, sisters, sons, and daughters that aren't blood. And his eyes stray to the throne beside him, the empty throne with the warhammer sitting next to it, and he says, I said goodbye to a brother yesterday. A brother who lost his way. And some of the Thunderlords kind of murmur. And he says, but I am Stone Rift's only king, at least for now. And in times of war, the King of the March rules. This is a time of war. He looks to the lords. He says, good lords, I appreciate your input and I appreciate your expertise, but the final word is mine. And I will say this. The Corruptor may not come to Stone Rift. He may not come to Stone Rift tomorrow. He may not come to Stone Rift next year. He may not come to Stone Rift in 10 years. But he will come, eventually. He will come for us. Or he will come for those that we care about. And he nods to you, Dice, and he says, Stone Rift will take up arms against the being known as the Corruptor. We will mobilize our armies and march with haste to the north. There we will set up camp, and we will prepare for battle at the walls of Falhast. He stands and he puts his fist to his chest in the traditional salute of Stone Rift, and he bows slightly to you four. And he says, you all have shown great courage, great strength of character. What will you do now? Shade Vale?
I look over to Dice, and to kind of nod and confirm what he has said, I look back to the king and I say, yes, to Shade Vale. We are grateful for your commitment, for your determination. You may not care much for the elves of Shade Vale, but I go to see if they too will march. I don't know of our chances, yet if they too will march, less dwarves of Stone Rift will die. And because you have chosen to march, less other folk will die. Thank you. And I kind of bow my head and arm across the chest in a brief salute.
He
And
nods to you, Erdon.
Durgan would stand, and almost in a like an automatic gesture, he'd put his hand across his chest, and he'd say, I make an odd request to you, my king. And I don't want it to seem blasphemous. And you can see that Durgan is nervous as he's asking this, but he looks over to the empty throne and he says, I don't want to mince words, but I don't believe that Nazmir lost his way. I believe he found ours. And I ask, if I may, I would like to carry his hammer into battle.
And the Thunder Lords immediately are like, oh, this is preposterous. No, no, no. And Nosmer, again, holds up his gauntleted hand. And he does so, like, with fervor this time, almost like he's like, rearing back to slap somebody. He comes back with his hand, and the Thunder Lords silence. And he looks over at the hammer. And he looks at Durgan and he says, that hammer was wielded by a great dwarf. I would be honored, Durgan of Clan Blood Mountain, if you would carry the weapon of Clan Stonehammer into battle against the Corruptor's horde.
Aye.
It'll do better out there than it will sitting on a dusty seat in here.
And Durgan wouldn't suppose to grab it now. He feels like that would be way too out of line. Like he's not gonna like, oh, let me you know, he sits back down and just trying to be as neutral as possible in all this.
And Balrock sits back down in his throne, and the Thunder Lords are all kind of shifting uncomfortably at his declaration of war and his declaration of essentially what is martial law. But he says, then it is settled. Stone Rift will answer the call, and we will go to war. If what you've told me is true, we have roughly 3 weeks before the largest portion of the Horde reaches Falhast. Is that correct?
Dice looks to Erdon, the military strategist kind of the group, and he looks at him and says, I've never been very good at math.
I would kind of glare at Dice and just go, and I just kind of grunt and nod.
We should be able to mobilize a sizable portion of our forces and make it there in time. We have a lot of work to do, and so do you four, if you are indeed planning on heading to Shade Vale.
Yeah, what's the worst that could happen? Cutscene. What could possibly go wrong?
The meeting sort of fizzles out after that, and the Thunder Lords begin filing out, murmuring to themselves. Some of them seem pleased with the decision. Some of them seem obviously displeased. But as you four stand and go to leave, Durgan, you feel a hand on your shoulder, and you turn around and Balrog is standing right there, and this is the closest you've ever been to Balrog Hornhelm. And up close, he looks a lot older, and he doesn't look as big as he does sitting on that throne. And he's standing right next to you, and he holds up this great warhammer, and he holds it out to you. And he says, "Do right by him, Durgan of Clan Blood Mountain."
Aye. And as Durgan holds it, I almost imagine this almost subtle charge, kind of only the audible sound, no like lightning or anything, but just an audible kind of like the crackle of electricity. And Durgan would definitely be surprised by that, but not upset by it, almost empowered. Like he would feel it charge up his arm, and he would bow to his king.
And he bows in kind and salutes you and turns to leave. So, Durgan, that is going to be a +2 Warhammer.
Woo!
That does an additional 1d4 lightning damage on hit.
Whew.
Can I give Durgan my inspiration, please?
Yes, you may.
Awesome.
I'll take it.
In addition, Durgan, you may throw the hammer. It has a range of 30 feet, 60 feet with disadvantage. And if it doesn't hit, you can use your reaction on the next round to catch it as it comes back.
Oh God, that's so awesome. That's so
If
cool.
it does hit, you got to go pick it up. But if it misses, it just swings back around to you.
Oh, hallelujah.
So cool.
Was that all improv?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it.
You're gonna
Yeah,
regret
that wasn't
that.
planned. I was just like, I'm going to throw him a curveball and see what he does.
You threw me a curveball, so I'm giving you a throwing hammer.
I love it, man. Oh, that's amazing.
Awesome. So everybody take a point of inspiration for that. That was great. And Nate, go ahead and take another point of inspiration for the prologue scene. That was great. Thank you for doing that with me and agreeing to do the prologue.
Oh yeah, thank you for asking me. That's awesome.
Also, Barker, that your speech, man. I needed a little bit after that, so I'm glad that Juice said something immediately following it because that really got me, man. So
It was pretty great.
very nicely done. So you guys file out of the throne room, and Dagger and Bolt Thrower is standing there, and he's kind of shaking his head, and he just looks at you and he goes, "You lot are causing a lot of trouble here in Stone Rift. I hear we're going to war now."
They don't call us the Provokers for nothing.
No.
You've been doing quite a bit of provoking. Well, I'm here to lead you out of the city. I hear you're leaving.
That's right.
I've got a quick stop to make before we go. It won't take but 5 minutes. Do you want to wait here, or shall I go, or come with, or?
That's up to the group.
Oh, I have no problem. What's 5 extra minutes? Erdan, is that okay?
Fine with me. I'll be waiting in my room.
Wait here. I'll be right back. And so,
Okay.
what you see would be montage.
Boxing,
Just a quick
kickboxing.
Durgan going, boom, running through the streets, down the mines, down, over, across, and in a locker, down where he used to work, he'd open it up, and there would be a dingy but sturdy copper shield that he would grab, and he would kind of put on his left arm and, kind of blow off. And on it is like the Bolt Throwers Union logo, And so he's just like, I And then montage, running back, you know, and he comes back within about 5 to 7 minutes, you know, out of breath with that shield.
You went down to the mines to get a crummy shield?
Hey, it's a mascot! And he, like, bangs on it.
He goes, "You've got the finest hammer in the land that used to belong to a king, and you're pairing it with a copper shield."
Boy, I made this.
I can tell, Durgan. I can tell. Smithing was never your strong suit. So, Dagrum, unless you guys want to do anything else here in Stone Rift, Dagrum is going to lead you up to the stables where your horses are kept.
Cool.
Sounds good.
So he takes you to the main lift of Stone Rift, the big elevator, and you all pile on into it, and it's just the Provokers and Dagrum in here. And while the lift starts kind of lurching up, Dagrum reaches into his vest and pulls out a piece of parchment, and he unrolls it, and he looks up at Dice and he says, "This is the report that my rangers gave me." And he looks at Erdon and he says, "A griffin was spotted flying in the direction of Shade Vale. We don't know if it's the corruptor, but griffins are rare in these parts. It's safe to assume."
My eyes narrow, and I just say, "We need to get on the road."
Aye.
Yesterday.
Aye. Also, out of character, I have to ask you guys, because you may have forgotten, but you guys still have 2 pebbles on the teleportation ring.
Yes, we do.
You left one at the Wayward Wanderer. Do you wish to leave one here in Stone Rift?
I would say yes. And that's what Dice was kind of preparing to do anyway.
Oh, okay, cool.
And he
cool.
kind of maybe looks at everybody else, kind of, guys, we might need to come back here soon, or maybe not.
While Dice is looking around and we're in this elevator, and like I just imagine the light kind of shuddering as we're going up.
Mhm.
I want to look at Durgan and look for a weak spot on him so I can hit him with my mace for throwing me down the stairs. I'm still mad about that. So like if I can exposed elbow or something, I can just club him in a spot that's going to smart a little bit. And then I'll turn to Dice and say, "Yeah, I think that's a good idea."
I definitely think you could find it because I am so just at ease and just my head is swimming with the fact that I'm holding this hammer. I'm like a kid who has a new toy, so you could probably take a pot shot at me anyway.
Yeah, not enough to do damage, just to know that I'm serious about being pulled down those stairs.
Right.
Then I would go ahead.
Oh, that's it. Just boy.
Is Charlie Horse on the conditions chart for 5 e?
Let me check here. Yep, you have disadvantage on all checks. That's how much it hurts. Yeah.
Spitting out blood.
Yeah. So Dice, he's handed you this parchment that is the ranger report, and he's told you guys that he sees the griffin. That his ranger spotted a griffin flying in the direction of Shade Vale.
And I would, in return, hand him this very tiny stone. So small that if you dropped it, I mean, it might take hours to find it. You'd be lucky if you did. And I kind of place it in his hand, and I wrap it up, and I say, "This is very important. Could you please hold on to this for me? Or at least get it to somebody that's going to be here, you know, a lot."
Dagger opens his hand and sees the pebble, and he goes, "You shouldn't have." And he kind of looks at Durgan like, "Is this a weird, like, elven thing, or what is this?"
Hey, if I'm not down on one knee, you're okay.
All right. Yeah, I'll keep it safe for you. Is there something I should know about it, or?
You should put it in either the armory or the throne room.
Hey, ooh, yeah, that's a good idea. Brasswick's idea. That's a very good idea.
All right. I'll put it somewhere safe.
I was going to say Durgan, with his new appreciation and kind of the reparations between him and old Dagram, would kind of lean in and go, "Oh, it's one of them teleporting rings. I don't know if it's gonna work or not, but what's that? That was all about."
Well, I'll put it somewhere safe because I don't want you teleporting in my pocket. I think that would be bad.
Be a little weird.
That's a good point.
Aye.
Think about that.
At this point, you all are standing in the elevator, and Erdon and Brasswick, you both hear boom, something on the ceiling of the elevator, like on the roof of the elevator. Almost like something hit it. And then a few moments later, you see another elevator coming down as you're going up, and it passes by you. And you keep going up.
Was the other elevator empty? Could we tell?
Looked empty, yeah.
So, yeah, I'll quickly, kind of jet back against the wall and look up to see if I can tell anything. Like, if there's anything up there.
And I'm actually going to draw my sword and say, "What was that? Did anyone hear that?"
Seeing everybody around him kind of preparing for battle, Dice hasn't heard anything. So, I mean, everything's just confusing. And he kind of thinks that this dwarf has, maybe done something offensive, and he's and he kind of steps away from him like they're about to arm themselves to attack him. And he just looks at everybody quizzically.
Would Durgan recognize this sound? With the time he spent in Stone Rift, is this like I used to live near an airport at my parents' house. That's just nothing to me. Like, people would be like, "What is that?"
That's just a rock falling on the elevator again.
Yeah, I mean, the elevators tend to be a little clunky sometimes, but I mean, it's not typical to hear something land on top of the elevator.
So I would definitely mention something, be like, "Oi, there's no sound that's supposed to happen here." And the only reason why I noticed is because they kind of started looking around and, "What's going on here?"
And as you're all standing there, Dagram's like, "What are you talking about?" And in that instant, you hear as if someone is screaming far away, and then the scream is coming from inside your head. Just this blast of noise hits all of you, splitting your head with pain and actually throwing you backwards against the walls of the elevator. And debris flies everywhere as this wave hits you. I need everyone to please make a Constitution saving throw.
I love it.
Wow, cool.
Oh, dice. I forgot about those.
We haven't rolled one in a while.
I'm starting this game off right.
Oh,
Me too, baby.
I actually need my character sheet.
Ritz!
Oh, damn! 18 and 20 for the dwarves. Holy
It's actually
shit.
22.
22? Yeah. Okay.
Nice. Mine was a 17 with a +1. So.
What about the elf bloods? Oh, Barker.
I tried.
Okay. Alrighty.
Home turf advantage, I guess, for dwarves.
Yep.
Okay.
Can I just say that's the second sports reference so far? Like you've said curveball and home turf advantage.
So, Dice, you take 13 thunder damage.
Wow. Okay.
Everyone else takes 7 thunder damage.
Now, what does that look like? What does thunder damage look like?
It literally looks like a wave of air that just explodes in the center of the elevator and throws all of you back against the wall. And your ears are just ringing. All of you are just...
You know, like Jango Fett's little nukes inside the asteroid field in episode 2?
Yes,
Like
that's exactly what it is.
Cool.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that sound effect happens.
Oh,
And
that's okay. I got an idea.
And as you're all kind of against the wall with your ears ringing, you see that the top of the elevator has been blown open, and 4 huge men drop into the elevator with axes drawn.
Oh,
No
God.
problem.
It is fun.
Erdon, you're up.
All right, so I have my sword drawn already, and man. So these are men.
These guys are men with giant blood. These are definitely Gavalt Raiders.
Okay. Yep. So I'm just going to lunge to the nearest one, and I let out a cry as I lunge forward with my sword, 2 hands plunging. And that's a nat 20 right there.
Oh, damn!
Mm.
Doing it big.
All right. So
Keep it up.
I like that.
It's been a while since we've seen Erdon do really well in a fight, honestly.
Yeah, seriously.
Considering
So,
you're the fighter.
oh, except for I killed a freaking giant. Come on.
Oh, okay. We didn't help at all.
You guys help. Erdon doesn't recognize your help. Nate does. Nate does. All right. So anyway, remind me how you do crits, Matt. Do you double everything?
Yeah, so roll your regular damage, add your modifiers, and then double it.
Okay. Okay, I rolled a 1 on the damage, and
Come on.
Well, there's
that's the way I crit. That's the way I crit in life. All right.
Inspiration. No, I don't know if you can inspire a damage roll.
You cannot.
No. So that is going to be. Oh man, it's been so long since I've done this. All right. That's going to be a total of 6 slashing damage.
6 slashing damage. Okay, perfect. All right. So what does that look like? You've just been thrown against the walls of the elevator, and now you're charging forward. What does your attack look like against this barbaric man wielding the great axe?
Yeah. So as I lunge forward, I'm trying to, aim for his torso. My hair flies wildly behind me as I launch myself, and he manages to dodge, but I do kind of nick his side with my blade, and it plunges in a little bit and tears some flesh on his side.
Yeah, you definitely get something important. He starts bleeding. Awesome. Okay, dice.
Okay, so the leadership quality of justice resides on one side of Dice's brain, so to speak. And when this thing goes off, it just immediately shifts everything that has anything to do with justice and morality to the other side. And he has visions of cities on fire, and he sees Holly, and he sees a mount that Meredith had ridden, and now it's empty, with nothing but a torn satchel on the side. And he lifts up his staff, and he turns to this, we'll call him a barbarian like he is, the closest one to him. And he'll say, bad idea. Because you know what I do? I freeze the mates! And I just blast a ray of frost at him. And I would like to use inspiration. Okay, the first one's a 21. Let's see if I crit. 21 it is.
Awesome.
Dude, that's awesome. Yeah, that's definitely a hit.
Okay, so that's 2d8 damage with the Ray of Frost. Oh, that's an 8. And probably a 1. Oh, that was 2 8s! 2 8s!
Dude, awesome. 16 damage on a Ray of Frost.
Yeah, that was dope. Okay, cool. Yeah, 16. Oh my gosh, I love you, D8.
Okay, awesome. So what does that damage look like hitting this barbarian?
It doesn't kill him, right?
No.
Okay.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Are you sure? I hate it when you... Don't say it like that. Oh, really? It honestly, it looks like a swirling mist, almost like an inverted tornado that just at once silences itself and stops, and then coalesces into one bolt and just blasts into this guy's chest. And I would assume that immediately upon contact, the ice from the spell would just, whatever armor he's wearing would just freeze and spread to his back and up his neck a little bit, and then just this the steam is just coming off of him because it's so cold that even a place like this in Stone Rift that's pretty cold itself is still warm enough for that effect to happen.
Yeah, and he staggers backward as this happens and kind of stiffens up as the ice coats his torso. Awesome. Anything else you want to do?
I will start bleeding out of my ears a little bit.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, there is definitely some blood coming out of your ears. Awesome. And all you can hear is since you got the brunt of the damage from the
So it sounded like me saying, "I preach yummy."
You actually thought you were just speaking at a normal volume, but everyone else is like, "Whoa, Dice, calm down, dude."
It's like when you talk with headphones on.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Awesome. Okay, that was Dice. Durgan, you're up, my friend.
So as I watch this unfold in front of me, I imagine that Durgan would kind of look down at the hammer that he had been bestowed upon him, rather. And I don't know if the best way I can describe it is if you've ever played hockey, there are these big wooden sticks. They're just good old-fashioned. They're thick. They weigh like a ton. And if you've ever shot with one of those sticks and gotten used to it, if anybody ever hands you a composite stick, it's like you can just juggle. It's the craziest thing. It's so light and it's so tactile. And so I imagine that Durgan is used to theoretically using this big wooden, this huge maul. And so I'm actually going to overswing is the way I look at it. It's almost this just like, whoa, like it is so, this Warhammer is so light and smooth and streamlined that it's almost like it swings before I can even swing my arm all the way. So I imagine what I would do is I would kind of look down at it, just kind of exhale, and you would see that my breath creates a fog in the wake of Dice's freezing spell. And what I would try to do is shatter the torso of the one that he has just frozen.
Awesome, yeah, and you're kind of like kitty corner to where Dice is, so you can easily reach that guy and swing at him. Go ahead and roll for attack.
Oh, I think I'm going to use my inspiration. Well, let me tell you what I got first.
Oh, you shouldn't do that. Yeah, I think you can't know if you missed.
I can't tell you if you missed or hit before you use inspiration.
Then I will do this. I'll just go ahead and take it as for what it is because of this magical hammer that I now have.
Mm-hmm.
So, wow, it's a lot to add up. It's a 17, and I rolled relatively low.
Yeah, 17 is a definite hit. These guys aren't wearing a ton of armor, and they're pretty lumbering, so they're fairly easy to hit, but they look hardy.
Gotcha.
So,
right.
Yeah, you hit.
I think that it's almost like the weight of the hammer being so light surprises me, and I kind of step forward with all of my weight into them, almost on accident. And so that would be, and you said a little D4, right?
Yeah, a little D4 of lightning.
14 damage.
Damn, all right.
Yes,
Sexy. He's totally dead, right?
And so, is this thing bleeding yet?
Yeah, he's bleeding.
So can I say that that it hits, and I would imagine that if some of the blood gets onto the side of this gorgeous-looking, almost, chromish stone-looking hammer that you can see in Dwarven, bloods trickle into the runes on the side, and anyone who reads Dwarven can read the name Storm's Reach.
Yes! That's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah, and you shatter the ice on this guy, and as you shatter, you actually drive some of the ice shards deeper into his chest as you just pretty much cave in this guy's ribs, and he staggers back, and you hear a ragged breath come out as he spits up blood, but he's still standing. These guys are pretty wicked tough. Awesome. That was Durgan. Brasswick, you're up, buddy.
All right. So I feel the room get cold, much like Durgan just experienced. And as I start to mutter under my breath some words that nobody can actually hear because they hear this ringing in their ears, Durgan almost wallops me in the head with his backswing that I barely move out of the way of. And you guys start to see through this hole in this cage a vortex, almost looks like a tornado whirling down into this small elevator. And it looks like, upon closer inspection, a bunch of angels swirling around. Okay, as I cast Spirit Guardians, and they have to make a DC 15 Wisdom save.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Awesome.
What's the radius on that spell?
15 feet
15
wide.
feet? Okay, great.
We're all converted now.
What's
Yeah,
the
I'm
DC?
the center of the 15 feet, it sounds like.
What's the DC there?
15 Wisdom.
15 Wisdom. Their Wisdom is not great. All 4 do not make it.
All right. Well, they will all take 12 damage, and at the start of every turn, up to 10 minutes, they will take that, as well as half speed.
What?
Yes.
What?
And I can declare as many people as I want immune to it, which obviously all my friendlies are safe.
Can I get some of that?
Hit me with that.
Hey man, let me hold some spirit guide real quick.
Juice, are you cheating?
Nope, Spirit Guardians.
That's amazing.
I've been waiting to use it.
That's ridiculous.
It's awesome.
Oh my gosh. Okay, cool.
The busted part about it, the amazing part, is that it does say you can designate any number of creatures you can see to be unaffected. Like, that's
right.
what's awesome.
Yeah, that is amazing.
And so then I'll kind of crouch down against the wall in the back to kind of stay out of the way,
Okay.
so that my friends can do what they're doing this turn.
Cool. And Dagrim is against the wall too. He got thrown back too, and you see that there's blood coming out of his ears, and he kind of blinks his eyes and looks up, and he sees this battle happening, and he doesn't have his crossbow on him, but he reaches back and he pulls out 2 daggers, and he just kind of charges across the elevator with 2 daggers just pointed downwards and starts slashing at these guys as best as he can. Okay. At this point, a 5th person drops into the elevator. And it's a woman. She's just a little bit smaller than these guys. She is a large, well-built woman. She has her hair in dreadlocks kind of tied into a knot behind her head, and she's carrying 2 hand axes, and you see that she has a small lyre, which is a stringed instrument, on her back. Let me pull up a picture.
Is she just entering the radius of that spell?
I made her take it too.
Awesome.
She was on top. She was on top of the elevator. That's why I asked the radius. Okay. Here we go. So you meta-wise, you will remember that this is Una Strongsong, who was featured in the prologue of last session. But in character, you guys don't know who this is, but she looks pretty beast. So she drops into the elevator, and she immediately begins speaking to her men, and she says, "Take them. We have to bring their heads to the corruptor. Do as I say." And in unison, all 4 of these guys bring in these huge breaths, and then they scream. I'm going to need everybody.
Oh, God.
Everybody. Oh, man, this is going to hurt. I need everybody to please make Constitution saving throws.
Everybody in the club getting Constitution saving throws.
All right.
Come on. I'm doing it small.
Me too.
Oh, guys.
Oh, yeah, Brasswick.
Brasswick with the divine intervention.
Alrighty. Here we go.
He's
I
smiling.
hate that smile. I know.
DM smiles.
Okay, hang on.
7 sessions to smile like that.
Would you say the word is glee? I see glee.
A little bit.
I think
Okay,
the name of the session
so-
should have been TPK.
Yeah. Erdon, Durgan, and Dice. You each take 29 thunder damage as 3 of the Hellscreamers let loose with their namesake.
Durgan would vomit.
And you can't hear the screams, but you feel them. Like, they're almost silent, but your entire body just feels like it's being torn apart.
Oh.
Oh, and Brasswick? Oh, Dice is down. Okay, Brasswick, you're not exempt, buddy. You take half damage, so give me 14 thunder damage, please.
All right, that's all right.
Dagram 2 is thrown against the side. Oh, and you're all knocked back 10 feet, too, so you all slam into the sides of the elevator as these screams go off. And Dagram slams against the side of the elevator and slumps to the floor unconscious. Barker, would you like to describe Dice going down here?
Yeah, it's in the middle of his screaming. It just gets cut off. It gets cut off like, ah! And then this blood that's already trickling down his ears, a couple more streams come down his nostrils and freeze to his face. And he looks around hazily for a moment, and he sees a little girl in the corner with blonde hair, small, and she's looking at him, and she just wisps away into Brasswick's tornado, and then he falls down, and he feels anger, he feels remorse, he feels pain, and then he feels nothing at all. And I'll post my hit points in the chat just so you can see them, Matt.
Okay. Phew. Okay, give me a second. I need to look something up.
Yeah, I know. Is that the DM's guide?
This is the player's handbook.
Oh, cool.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
And you're dead.
Okay, no, I just needed to look up death saving throws. Okay, so you don't need to do anything right now, Dice, but on your next turn, which is coming up here, you will have to.
And am I correct in assuming that at what point do I automatically die? If I get negative my constitution?
It's negative your total hit points.
Okay,
yeah,
I got you.
So you don't actually get negative hit points. You just stop at 0 unless you take enough damage to completely obliterate you. So
Cool.
You're just at 0 hit points, and you're going to start making death saving throws unless somebody stabilizes you.
You could die like me, where you get hit once by a team member like Matt shooting rocks out of the sky. Wait, what?
Wait,
What?
wait, what? Wait, what are you talking about?
From the astral, Matt, when you were shooting rocks. And I was unconscious, so
I totally remember killing your character.
Dude,
I didn't forget about that at all.
Dude, Juice, what happens in the astral stays in the astral.
I don't think I ever apologized for killing your character. I'm sorry, Juice.
It's okay. Better character.
He's not going to apologize now either.
And then I'm sorry, but I'm not done. These thunder waves are damaging the elevator as well. The elevator stops going up and lilts as one of the chains holding it up snaps, and it goes. And I need everyone who's not Dice to make a dex save, please.
I'm going to do it anyway. Do it too.
Dice, you automatically fail. There you go.
Yeah.
Not good.
Oh, damn, you guys. How is Durgan the only one that made his dex save?
I don't know. I don't know because I
I'm
have
gonna use inspiration.
-1
You're gonna use
dex.
inspiration? Okay, yeah, go for it.
Can I give my inspiration?
I'm going to take it.
All right. That's not much better.
Oh! I'm going to use lucky, actually. Okay, slightly better.
Oh, damn, guys. Okay. Okay, so, Eridon, you in your blood rage, as the elevator lilts to one side, it catches you off your feet and you slide into the wall and take 6 bludgeoning damage as you fall painfully into what used to be a wall but is now the floor, essentially. And Durgan and Brasswick, you two manage to kind of hold on as the elevator lilts to the side and keep your footing.
Awesome.
And you see Dice's body just slide across the elevator as it lilts. These guys, too, seem to lose their footing. They weren't expecting the elevator to start collapsing like this. Okay. I'm done, I promise. Eridon, you're up.
All right.
That was a productive turn for me.
Yeah,
Let's see.
best turn ever.
All right. So I would go over to Dice. I assume he's pretty close to me.
Yes.
I would kneel down and I would quickly, I guess, try to, I don't know. I'm going to try to stabilize him. So I suppose I might just, feel for his pulse and kind of smack at his face and say, "Wake up! Wake up!" And yeah, I'm going to make this would be a heal check, is that right?
Yeah,
medicine.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to use my other inspiration.
Okay.
All right, I rolled a 13, so I think that's enough, right?
Yep, all you need is a 10. Dice is stabilized, but he's unconscious.
Okay. And then I am going to use my bonus action of Second Wind to kind of rally myself, and that would be 1d10. Sorry, 1d10 plus my level. So I'm going to regain some hit points there. And then I'm going to use Action Surge to rush these fools.
Eridon doing it big.
Ah!
Go for broke.
All right. Well, that's a 10 to hit.
10 to hit does not hit.
Okay.
All right. Damn, all right, very productive turn, Eridon. So it is Dice's turn. Dice, you are unconscious. You don't need to make a death saving throw because you've been stabilized. But you are effectively out of the fight at this point.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
So turn passes to you, Durgan.
So, just deaf with everything around me, more or less a haze, and I imagine just that kind of doubled and tripled vision in the corner of my eyes, and I'm kind of just like, everything's like, and I'm kind of shaking it off, and slowly under my breath, I just am trying so hard. May I never find ruin in pursuit of my foes. May I unearth the freedom retribution bestows. And so what I will do is, as an attack action, I will jump, and I will grab Dice by the neck, and I will pop off a lay on of hands for 10 hit points.
Awesome.
And since I am a 5th level or higher, I actually get a second attack action, and I haven't been using that this whole game, if you're cool with that. So, so what I would do is, and I would attribute it, metagame, just kind of finding a reason, I would probably attribute it to this new hammer, meaning it's lighter, it's quicker, I understand it better, I'm starting to get a feel for it. So the next thing I would do is, as I grab him by the throat and kind of pop off that, what I would also do is then kind of just shield him as best I could, and then use, basically you would see Durgan kind of crouch over him, and this reddish, quick explosion of light would just kind of suck back in on both of them, and I'm actually going to use Cure Wounds as a 2nd level spell, And so Dice will also get 2d8 back.
Awesome.
And Dice, you can roll the 2d8.
Okay. Since my D8 rolls 8s. A 5, okay. And a 4. That's 9.
So you're back up to 19 with the lay on hands and the cure wounds.
And he snaps out, it kind of awakens, and your hand is around his throat, and he says, in a choking way, he says a name. He kind of looks at you and says, Hero? Hero? And then he sees this, he's looking at you, and through his eyes you kind of look like this river bear creature that they use as mounts in the place where he's from. And all of a sudden it fades back, and he sees that the river bear has a blue streak of beard, and it just fades into Durgan. Durgan, I was all right. I was okay.
And then Durgan would wink at him, and he'd say, "Oh, I know. That was for me."
And then I'll cough up some blood.
Perfect. And Dice, when you went down, the elevator was pretty stationary. Now it is lilting heavily to one side.
Yeah.
And you hear it going, kind of creaking on the weight of one chain. Okay, so that was
Want me to
Durgan.
actually make a dex saving throw now?
No.
Okay.
Because you kind of slid across the thing, so.
Okay. He's holding me by the throat too. That's
yeah,
stability.
exactly. Okay, Brasswick.
All right, so there's 4 guys that are these Hellscreamers and this female in here, correct?
Yes.
Okay, now do you want me to do my roll for the damage for the Spirit Guardians on my turn or their turn? The book says their turn.
We'll go ahead and do it on their turn. They go right after you, so we'll just do your turn and then you can roll for the damage. Just remind me if I forget.
Okay, so I'm going to, seeing this woman who's clearly guiding them, I'm going to, again, mutter something under my breath, which you guys can kind of hear me say something, oh, Ilmater, bless us with a guiding bolt. And I'm going to use it as a 3rd level slot against her for...
Okay.
Oh, I should probably roll to hit first.
That would be good, yeah.
16 hit?
16 does hit.
All right. Thank you, plus 7. Okay, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 points of damage to her.
All right.
So you guys see this flash come shooting out of my hand and just nail her right in the chest.
She staggers backwards. All right, anything else on your turn, Brasswick?
Nope.
Okay.
That'd be it.
So it is
Or
their
actually,
turn,
I
so
take that back. Can
Yeah.
I do Mass Healing Word as well? It's a bonus spell.
Yeah.
I know there's weird rules about like casting multiple spells in a turn.
I mean, if it's a bonus action, then I don't think it should be an issue.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna do a Mass Healing Word to everybody.
Okay.
And that is.
God love you.
See, I knew you guys could take it. I knew if I dished out the damage, you could take it.
So I
Have any of them died?
Not yet. So I flick my wrist, the same one that just shot this bolt of light out, and I heal. Sorry, I got to look at my other bonuses because of it. 2 plus level of healing spells, which is 3, so 5. So everybody's gonna get 8 hit points, including myself, I believe. Yeah, up to 6 creatures. So yeah, so all the friendlies are going to get 8 hit points, and then I get an additional chunk of hit points, I think. Yeah, Blessed Healer. So I get an additional 2 plus spells level.
Awesome.
And someone in the comments, thank you very much, Jacob Kane. He actually says Cure Wounds is 2d8s plus my spellcasting mod, so that means that you get an extra 4 hit points, Barker.
I'll take it. Yep.
Because I totally,
You can't take it away, Matt. It's already. I don't have an eraser on this pencil, so it's already done.
All right. I'll let it slide.
All right, so then I'll fade off into the background and just try to hold my ground again.
Okay, so it is their turn. So give me damage again for your Spirit Guardian.
13 points.
Damn, son. Okay, so let's see here. Oh, it's a lot of numbers. Yep. Okay. One of the Hellscreamers drops to the floor, and his lifeless body slides across and kind of crumples on one side of the elevator. The rest of them are still standing, but look pretty injured. The woman is standing in the midst of these guys holding her hand axes, and she is looking around the elevator. She sees that Dice is back up. She looks at the chain, and she says, "Hellscreamers, we fly." And she hits the chain with her axe. There's a moment of stillness as the chain breaks free, and then the elevator drops. Everybody, please give me a Dex saving throw.
Can I jump in really quick
Yes,
and ask a question?
you may.
How many people can I cast Featherfall on?
That's a really, really good question.
It says, choose up to 5 falling creatures within range.
There you go.
That'd be all of us and the NPC.
So, well, yeah, yeah, for sure. Let me just tell you, Matt, what my idea would be, and then you tell me if we're still doing dex checks or whatever you want. The elevator, the chain is cut, and Dice is seeing this in slow motion, and the elevator begins to fall, and Dice shoves his staff just into the ground, the staff of you, in kind of a you shall not pass type of way, and just this momentary kind of but fleeting feeling of gaseous air around, and I would like everybody to be able to kind of maybe fall or float or whatever as the elevator falls underneath us. We're still maybe falling slower.
Okay, yeah. So what we're going to do is, because Featherfall's a reaction, so you can do that.
Oh,
okay. Isn't it? It is a reaction, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's one reaction.
Cool. And so everybody still has to make dexterity saving throws because of the suddenness of this, and you're all going to be sort of lurching upwards as you go into free fall.
For sure.
So, and let's see here. So Juice made his. Nate made his.
I'm going to use my luck.
Okay.
And so, because I rolled a natural 1.
Ooh.
It was a 19, and I was all happy, and then it went crunk over to 1. And I was like,
no! Yeah.
I'm going to try this again. Okay. Let's see how this goes.
Okay, so you all managed to avoid a ton of damage and end up taking half damage, which is going to be 4 bludgeoning for each of you, as you kind of fly upwards and hit the ceiling of the elevator. But as you do so, you feel the weightlessness combined with a feeling of control as you're in free fall, as Dice's Featherfall spell goes off. The sides of the elevator are open. The top has been blown open. If you are in the elevator when it hits the bottom of the canyon, even with Featherfall, you're going to be taking a lot of damage as it pretty much implodes around you.
Oh, yeah.
But you have a couple of rounds to try and get out of the elevator before it hits the bottom of the canyon. It is falling fast.
I bought us some time. What are we going to do? He screams through the mist and through the immense amount of sound.
And you would see at that point, when the Featherfall is cast, it kind of lurches Durgan, and as he hits the partial roof of the elevator, wherever we actually kind of get snagged, you'd actually see his eyes roll back in his head, and he'd black out for a second, and then spit a huge bunch of blood out, and then kind of wake up and not really respond to dice.
The barbarians, by the way, are actually making their way out of the hole in the elevator. Like they kind of lurch up, hit the ceiling, and they start like climbing out of the hole in the elevator in free fall.
Honestly, I'm feeling, Dice is feeling like this all would be for naught if we don't at least take one person prisoner.
Yeah, I would want to go through the roof and stay as close to the bad guys as possible with my vortex
same here.
of death.
Okay, cool. So we're just going to go ahead and continue with initiative order then. So Erdon, you are up.
Yeah, so
I'll say that real quick. 2 barbarians are outside of the elevator now. The woman and the remaining barbarian are still inside.
Oh.
Okay. Then I would probably go for this woman if if I'm not already engaged with the other one.
Yeah, the one that you're actually engaged with is dead.
Okay.
Brasswick dropped him with Spirit Guardian and Guiding Bolt. So, or no, he hit the woman with Guiding Bolt, but his Spirit Guardian did enough to drop this guy. So.
Right. So I would probably look rather perplexed for a moment at what Dice has done and not fully understanding, but I would quickly push that away and my battle instincts would come back, and that is kill. And so I'm going to actually make 2 attacks at this woman. My first one, I'm going to try to go for her leg or the back of her leg to try to take her down to her knees.
Okay, and because you are not used to fighting in what is essentially 0 gravity, you're going to be rolling at disadvantage on attacks and skill checks.
Yep. All right. So I roll a 10 to hit for the first attack.
That is not a hit.
Okay. Then my second attack, I slash higher up. Can't see that dice. That is an 11 to hit.
Not a hit. So you come at her with your sword, and the first attack, she knocks your sword aside with one hand axe, and the second attack, she actually hooks it and just kind of moves it aside as you're both kind of like in free fall moving towards each other with your weapons.
Awesome.
Dice.
Dice is going to be kind of grabbing onto whatever wall he can, whatever side is near him, whatever remnants of metal and wood, and kind of spider climb. It's kind of an illusion of spider climbing, just because the way the gravity and the feather fall is working. Attempt to get to this woman. What did you say her name was?
Una Strongsong.
Luna or Una?
Una.
Una. And of course, Dice doesn't know that, but I'll call her Una. And he will just attempt to get toward to her. That's what he's going to do for his turn. And yeah.
Okay.
Can I get there?
Yeah, you can easily make it to her. Is there anything else you want to do with your action?
I would like to try to wrap the staff kind of around her.
Okay.
And cast Fly.
Okay. Yeah,
and
you can do it.
Okay, cool. So first off, I'm going to cast Fly either way. That's happening first, and then like I'll jump off of the wall towards her, just kind of soaring through this soaring elevator cabin. Really awesome. This is just so cool. And try to just kind of grab onto her and tackle her and hold onto her.
Okay. So go ahead and give me. We're gonna treat it like a grapple.
Okay.
So you'll need to give me I think it's a athletics check. Can anyone confirm that for me with grapple?
I think it can be either
yes.
a dex or strength, right?
Dex or strength, and then it's
whatever he used.
I think grapple is athletics, and for defense you can choose.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, so athletics dice.
Okay, cool. Then... Oh, wow, weird, I have that. Awesome. Totally was not expecting that. Sorry. Yeah, rad. So I get a +4 to this entire roll. Come on. That's a 10. And what did she roll?
So you got a 14 total.
No, I got a 10 total.
A 10 total? Okay, yeah, she beats that. She, as you fly towards her, she actually kind of like elbows you aside and pushes you to the back of the elevator.
And I kind of do a little barrel roll, not intentionally, and slam my back against the back of the elevator and kind of grab onto the side, and I'm kind of still floating with a mixture of holding on. Really, really awesome, really surreal.
Awesome. Okay, Durgan, you're up. Dwarves in free fall.
Yeah, so Durgan's looking really, 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 really rough. I'll just leave it at that. So basically, in this featherfall, blood would be slowly dripping, kind of out of every wound that he's taken, especially, his ears, probably his nose, and so on, from just this awful, concussive force. But he would his eyes would sort of roll back in his head again, and he would start to pass out. And to himself, he would kind of whisper, but maybe it's not to himself. And he says, I need your help. God of self-defense and retribution. And blood would kind of come out in a vomitous way. I need you. And Durgan would kind of pass out, but you would see this red just jolt kind of pop in his chest, and he would kind of, he would wake up, and you would see that in his prayer to Tritherion, more or less, the spell Cure Wounds was cast. Was it maybe Tritherion? Was it Durgan? I don't know, but I will take a D8 of healing.
Awesome.
Plus my modifier. Perfect. And so then, I would kind of just come to, and that would be my turn.
Awesome. Okay, Brasswick.
So is she currently holding 2 hand axes?
She is.
Okay. Then I'm going to shout at her, drop, which and also, did she leave my 15-foot radius?
She did not. She's still in your 15-foot radius.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to yell drop, and she's going to have to make a wisdom save of 15. Otherwise, she's going to drop everything in her hands.
Okay, cool. Let me make that save for her.
Or not.
She makes it. Ah. She kind of like looks at you, and she shakes her head as she rebuffs your spell and grips her axes tighter.
And then I'm also going to try and move closer to her.
Okay, you do so. You are within engaging range now.
Excellent.
Okay, so one more round has gone by. You guys have 1 round before the elevator hits bottom. And it is their turn. 2 of the barbarians have left. Una remains along with one of the other barbarians. She is going to make 2 hand axe attacks. One at Erdon, one at Brasswick. Erdon, she hits you for 6 slashing damage as her hand axe swipes across, and droplets of blood kind of float out of you and start floating along with everything else in the elevator, splattering against the ceiling. And the remaining barbarian, he's floating with his great axe, and he actually just kind of lets his great axe go, and he's floating, and he looks at Una, and you guys can see he's cut up pretty bad, and there's blood just kind of flowing from all kinds of different wounds, and he looks at Una and he goes, "Go, live to fight another day." And she nods to him, and he looks at you all, and he goes, "Everybody make a Constitution saving throw."
Oh no! They all take 11 points, by the way, Matt.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's not good. Lucky.
Yeah, I was gonna say, look. I'm using my second one. Juice. That's 2 for both of us. We only have 1 left, man.
Yep.
Jurgen's gonna die.
No.
No, he won't.
Oh no.
He might.
What'd you roll, buddy? It's not going to be Durgan that dies.
Oh, it's gonna be
Oh.
dice.
Okay, I actually didn't roll that good though. Okay. So let's see here.
Don't
Dice.
hold back now.
You're
Yeah.
taking 15 thunder damage.
Okay.
Everybody
that's chump
else.
change.
Everybody else is taking 7 thunder damage.
That's racist. Half elves, always persecuted.
I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you.
What a mutt.
I don't want. Man, I would totally cast silence right now if this spirit guardian thing wasn't doing so well.
I think I got an idea.
Yeah,
I
dude,
think I have an idea.
Job.
And Dagram is actually awake again. I realized you guys did some AoE health stuff, which would have brought him back from 0 hit points. So he's kind of shaking his head. He doesn't have his daggers anymore because he dropped them. But he just kind of wakes up and he's like, "What the hell is going on?" Like he kind of yells over all the noise of just the elevator dropping. And he just kind of is like floating around the elevator cabin. Okay, so that was their turn. So Erdon, you're up. So at the end of their turn this round, the elevator is hitting bottom.
Okay. So I would probably try to. There's one guy left, right?
There is one barbarian left. He's not looking good, and Una looks like she's preparing to float out of the hole.
Dice, really quick, will shout to everybody, just to anybody who can hear this and do it. Grab her! Grab her!
Okay, so I would probably kind of crouch low, shaking the cobwebs from having my bell rung a little bit by this thunder, and I would lunge toward her. I guess I'm going to lunge toward her. I'm going to try to push her and myself out of the elevator, if possible.
Okay. Yeah, I'll go ahead and call that a strength check.
Yeah.
She's going to try to oppose it.
I rolled a 15.
Where are my d20s? There they are. Where are my d20s at? She got an 11. You successfully grab her, and you both float out of the elevator. And you're still in free fall, but you were free of the elevator, and you've successfully grappled her.
All right. That's all I'm going to do.
Okay. It was Erdon. Dice.
Dice is going to, looking up at Erdon, who has just grabbed Una and taken her out of the elevator, he is going to leap off the wall and fly upwards with staff in hand and just kind of sweep Erdon off his feet almost. He's already off his feet, but it just kind of looks like he's swiping at his legs, and he's casting Fly again on Erdon.
Awesome.
So, Erdon, you feel this lightness, you feel this ability. A red cape sprouts from your back, and blue tights just all around you, and a red and golden S is just right on the chest. You can't help it. And and I am gonna try to fly out with them towards the top. You know what? Actually, I would probably try to grab one of my other comrades on the way, but I would do that after I let Erdon fly. Just because if I failed, then it probably would negate my later action.
Right. Okay.
So and I don't think I can actually do that much on the on my turn. So.
Yeah. I'm gonna because you moved. Floating out of the thing, and then did your action. So yeah, you're pretty much done.
I'm gonna order a latte. I'm gonna save everybody's lives. We're good, guys.
What are you, a monk?
What do you want
to buy some stock?
Soy vanilla? Is that it? Really, guys? Is that what you want?
All right, that was Dice. Durgan, you're up, dude.
So if I'm near Dagram or anywhere near him, he's still kind of floating in there.
Yeah.
I would kind of look up. I'm looking. It was just I get the sense that we're about to die. So I would look to him and I'd go, "Oi, Grendel grapple, Dagram, Grendel grapple," and I would hold out my two arms, trying to mimic this old kind of, almost like I imagine two dwarves would basically grapple each other by the arms and kind of, hit heads and, basically just dwarf wrestling down in the old Grendel outpost. We called it Grendel grappling. And so what I'm going to try to do is grab him and literally, hopefully, if he helps me and knows, I'm going to try to, like, swing him out of the hole and just hold on and follow the momentum.
Awesome. Yeah. He's floating, and as you say Grendel grapple, he gets this look on his face, and then you see realization dawn. He goes, "Aye!" And he grabs your outstretched arms, and I'm not even going to make you roll for it. You just kind of swing him with all of your strength, and he holds on, and the two of you just kind of float out of the side of the elevator into free fall.
Nice.
So the only people left in the elevator, it's Brasswick and this barbarian. And Brasswick, it is your turn, my friend.
Yeah, that works. Okay. Well, I'm going to follow them out the hole, I think. And but before I do that, I'm going to turn back at this guy and cast Guiding Bolt on him, so he can't grab me on his turn.
Do it to it.
And I rolled another crit. I'm going to roll tonight. So that's double damage dice, right?
Roll, add your modifiers, double it.
Oh, okay, so then that would be 18 points of damage from Guiding Bolt.
Your bolt actually goes through him and blows a hole the size of your fist right through his chest. And he just, like, goes limp in free fall, and his corpse is just floating in the elevator. And I'm assuming you want to move out of the elevator as you're going, as you're doing this.
Yes.
As you move out of the elevator, you see the ground just racing up towards you, and everybody who's in free fall looking down sees the elevator, and you're all just like, "Where's Brasswick? Where's Brasswick?" And you see him just shoot out of the elevator, and the elevator goes, just hits the bottom of the canyon and just is just obliterated, just debris just flying everywhere, and smoke just comes up in a plume, and all of you are racing towards the ground, and as you get close to the ground, you just kind of slow just enough so that you can kind of do like a running landing from Dice's Featherfall. And you see the surviving two barbarians. They're about 50 feet away from you. They also, as they're falling, they start screaming at the ground, and they slow their landing with their screams, and kind of land, tuck, and roll, and then start running down the canyon.
So they take that extra damage?
What's that?
They take the Spirit Guardian damage?
Let's see. What's the radius have to be for that?
Like 15 feet.
No, they're too far away for that.
Oh, darn.
The angels died in the fall, man. You gotta crack a few eggs,
I'll put them away.
Okay, so the elevator is completely destroyed at the bottom. So Erdon and Dice, you guys are flying, so you don't have to land. But Brasswick and Durgan, you guys have come to a stop at the bottom of the canyon. And I actually think I'm going to call for a break so we can have a breather. Is that okay?
Cliffhanger.
No, I'm serious. This is not only the best encounter that I've ever played in, easily the best session I've ever played in my entire life. I feel like I'm in a movie. It's the
I planned this elevator encounter months ago, and I was so excited to do it last time, and then Tila had to go to the emergency room, and I was like, "Babe, elevator encounter. We can't go to the emergency room." No, that was. Thank you guys for totally doing it big on the elevator encounter, man. I didn't have any of the rules planned out, and I was just like, you know what? I know this system. I'm just gonna wing the saves and stuff that are involved. So,
Well, I'm game on 2-minute break, and Matt, I'm gonna do exactly what you did because it's your turn, buddy.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll be right back. Everybody, please stick around.
I think people are going to think that I'm cheating. I get like all these crits. It happens at encounters too. Luckily, people can see it.
I did not hear a word you just said, Juice.
Oh, I just said I think people are going to start thinking I'm cheating because I get all these crits. Like at least in our at-home games, I'll like show you guys, like,
Oh, yeah.
like look, because I feel like it happens too much.
Yep, people, I can vouch for this guy right here. Juice would not cheat. We are all A-OK with failure.
Yeah, I got dropped the other night in a game with Dumb Forgecast, so yeah.
All right, I'll be right back.
Yeah, me too. I gotta get more water.
Hello, viewers. Barker here.
I'm still here too. Don't worry.
Hey, what's up?
Barely here.
Dude, that was just so cool.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome.
That was fun. Jacob Kane asks, "Is anyone else physically exhausted from watching that encounter?" Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, there was a moment where I was like, "Oh my gosh!" Like I started kind of mentally preparing a dice death scene. It's like, is he gonna
And I
die?
go splat
Yeah, exactly.
like
man.
Frogger.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I was like, oh man, I hope he makes me do a deck save or something, and like I can use like my last lucky, maybe inspiration. Hopefully I make it.
Oh my gosh.
Hopefully, if not, Durgan still has some spells up his sleeve. All right, I'll be right back.
All right, no worries, man. Oh, just some questions and stuff. Jeez. Okay. Yeah, questions. What an encounter. So much fun. Yes, it is, Robbie. It was. I'm so happy Matt called for the 2-minute break because my brain just, like, I was so invested in that. That just blew my freaking mind, man. Dude, Matt, it is, like, completely agreed upon in the comments that elevator encounter was super dope rad bitchin'.
Dude, it was.
I a sale for everything in my life to be super dope bad richin'.
I think, yeah, I got you. Oh,
No,
this is one of those cookies.
This is a cookie pizza, my friend.
What? Papa John's?
No, Pizza Hut.
Oh, Pizza Hut
What
got in that game, huh?
Yeah, what I did today was I ordered a pizza at about 11, and I've just been eating pizza and playing Heroes of the Storm all day. So
Nice.
You called it Chillax Day 2015. What's all that?
I called it Chillax Day, and then I amended that, and I called it what was it? Sit on my Assathon 2015 or something like that.
You were taking pledges. Yeah, I also never tell you during the combat, but I dropped to 1, and then I healed myself, or got healed or whatever, and then I dropped to 2.
Oh my gosh!
So close to dead.
Dude, I'm gonna keep reminding you. Also, Matt, you gotta roll on that chart.
Oh, yeah. Let's do that right now.
Oh
Really?
yes.
We're gonna do it now.
Yeah, let's do it right now.
I don't have my DMP. I was gonna follow along. I don't have.
Dice is gonna lose an eye.
Oh man.
Oh
there's no-
shit! There's so much cool shit. Okay.
There's only room for one Bluebeard in this party.
Okay.
Lose your chin.
Let's do
Are
it.
you ready, Barker?
Born that way.
You trust me?
Sure.
That's
That's
do you
not
wanna
a
roll
yes.
for it, or do you want me to roll for it?
He trusts you not to hold
Here,
back.
you know what? Actually, I would like our viewers to roll for it. What do they need to roll?
They need to roll a d20.
Okay, someone roll a d20. I actually don't have the list in front of me, so I don't know what it'll land on. The first one I see is the first one that's gonna be the case. So if
And
you are
don't-
watching this, get in the comment section of the YouTube video and roll your d20 and post what you get.
Awesome
don't-
idea.
Don't cheat and pick one.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
cheat.
nobody be
Come on.
opening the DMG and being like, "What do I want?"
Let's see. I want them to have no arms.
It's actually in the box manual, page 40.
Wait, what? We're letting the viewers decide if we have no arms?
Well, yeah, pretty
What
much.
I miss?
Oh man, we're letting
Go
the
ahead,
viewers roll on the lingering injuries table for dice.
Oh, all
Yeah,
right.
so don't cheat, guys. The first one
We're
I
not
see
going
is
to be able to talk anymore.
oh,
We did that last night when we were
That's-
almost.
all right.
No.
That
the
was
first-
madness. I'm sorry.
Oh my God! Everyone is. Oh, that's cool. Okay, the first one I saw, honestly, was from a viewer named Conclude, which is ominous, given the word conclude or conclusion or end or death. The roll is a 17.
Oh, that's high, man. Oh man.
Is that bad? I don't know. Does that mean it's bad?
I don't know. I don't
You know what? On the lingering injuries table, higher is better.
Oh, cool.
Dice.
Thanks, Conclude.
Dice, you have a minor scar. It does not have any adverse effects, and magical healing of 6th level or higher, such as heal or regenerate, removes it completely. I will leave it up to you to decide where that scar is and what it looks like.
Okay. It's an appendix removal.
Looks
Okay.
like little railroad tracks on your stomach.
Oh my gosh, that's actually perfect. Given the, I don't know, the monologue of Dice's earlier about not wanting to not be recognized anymore. Beautiful.
Oh, totally, totally.
Awesome. Thank you, Conclude.
Yes, thank you everybody for rolling on the chart. That is awesome.
Yeah. Oh my
I
God,
just
that was
hit
amazing.
refresh and like 10 people rolled.
I know.
Oh,
But we
Gabe,
have
sorry, man.
143 viewers right now, so.
Oh, wow. Gabe rolled first, and then Jacob Kane, and then Mike. But you're right, Barker. You jumped with the first one you saw.
Yeah, I did.
Which is fine.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Matt, but like 40% of your comments are going to be random numbers between 1 and 20.
People who haven't got to this point in the video yet are going to be like, what is happening in
What
the
the
comments?
hell?
If I get dropped, I'm going with Gabe's 13 there.
What is that?
What's
the-
Yeah, I don't know. He rolled a 13. Gabe's first one of the comments.
Oh, really? He was the first one.
Well, but
Gosh.
when you refresh, there's a ton. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. I just went with the first one I saw. So
I want to see what 13 is in the.
I'm so curious. Oh, my God. There are so many.
it's going to be like super sexy.
Okay, guys.
Become sexy.
No more numbers. We got a number. We're good.
13 would have been a horrible scar.
We are gonna.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
Nice.
If you disadvantage on persuasion and intimidation, or disadvantage on persuasion, advantage on intimidation.
Yes! Oh, I want it. Drop me, man. Drop me.
Hey, I'm trying. No, I dropped dice, almost dropped Durgan again. Dropping Durgan's like any other day though, but I dropped dice for the first time. So
Can I do one more thing in the regarding viewers posting comments, Matt?
please do.
If that's okay, I don't want people to flood your stuff. If you're like, no.
I don't care.
I've got some debate going on in my mind about what that minor scar will be. And you know what? That's another thing I'd like to leave to the fates and leave to you guys. I see one, Reynaldo Rivera, has posted an option. Yeah, everybody, if you have an idea, go ahead and post your choice, and I'll pick which one I think fits best.
I'd say by the end of this session, we'll pick what your scar's going to be. I like it.
Yeah, very cool.
Cool. All right. Everybody bathroomed up and good to go?
True.
Yep, but I'm still going to have to pee in 20 minutes because I have a tiny bladder.
I have an average-sized bladder, but I'm drinking a lot of water. I think it's average to large.
Average, like medium to extra large bladder.
Extra large bladder. It looks like a whoopee cushion.
So, the elevator has crashed to the canyon below. There are two barbarians taking off full speed through the innards of the lightning repository, soon to be disappearing into the crowd. And Brasswick and Durgan, you two have just touched down at the bottom of the canyon. Erdon, you are currently grappling Una, who is struggling against you as you're floating there. And Dice, you were floating next to him, both of you with the fly spell on you. So we'll go ahead and go in initiative order here, not for combat, but just for resolving things. Erdon, what would you like to do?
I would love to ask Dice, what's happening? What do I do?
Nope, don't say you're falling with style.
Resist it.
Just go with
Resist it.
No, just let it flow through you, okay? I mean, try looking where you want to go.
Okay. And I suppose
Don't
I would
look down.
I suppose I would look down, actually.
Oh, really?
And I would make sure that and I would fly toward my friends that I can see on the ground.
Oh,
and I would make sure that Una hit the ground first.
As you start flying towards the ground, Una is going to attempt to escape.
Okay.
So I'll need you to give me an athletics check, please.
Okay. Oh, that's terrible. Right. I got a 7.
Oh, she struggles a little bit, and she reels back with her elbow and knocks you in the face with her elbow, and you just get like this blinding pain as she elbows you in the nose, and she drops and falls full speed.
All right.
So she's falling. It's going to take her a few seconds to hit bottom. Does anyone else want to try anything before she does?
I think Durgan would let go of Dagram, kind of seeing this, finally being a little more aware of the situation, and he would probably look down at the hammer on his side, and you would hear the words of his king ring in his head, basically, and should you throw it, it shall return to you, And so he just kind of looks down, and I'm just going to try to chuck it. And what I'm going to try to do is probably hit her lower back or her pelvis, something that would really just knock her down and make sure she couldn't move.
Okay, go for it.
So, let's see here. Is that like a ranged attack? I don't even know.
Yeah, so honestly, it would just be your normal attack with it, because thrown weapons, you can use strength or dex. So it would just be your normal attack with it.
Wow, that's an 18.
That's a hit. Give me damage, man.
Oh, jeez. I'm not trying to kill her. All right, let's see. And lightning. Okay, 8.
8? Okay. So...
Oh, jeez. Don't tell me she has 8.
All right. So you look back, you see her fall, and you throw the hammer up to meet her, and as she's falling, the hammer hits her, and she just gets hit with it and starts falling like a sack of potatoes. Luckily, she had cast Featherfall on herself, and so as she's falling, she kind of slows, and you see her just kind of hit the ground beside you, Brasswick and Durgan, and you see she's completely unconscious, bleeding fairly profusely from a few wounds, meaning she's probably, if she doesn't get stabilized, she's probably dying in the next few seconds here.
So I quickly look down at her and contemplate not healing her, but then realize Ilmater would want me to do something. And so I'm going to... I'll cast... Oh gosh, I don't know what I want to cast on her. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine, dude.
I'll do Healing Word on her.
Okay.
As a bonus action,
and
grapple her with my regular action.
Awesome. Okay, yeah. So how much health does that give her?
That'll give her 1 plus 2 plus... So, 4 hit points.
Okay, yeah, so just pretty much just enough to bring her back to consciousness.
Yeah, which I would probably do that right after I grabbed her, so it's like an automatic success.
Right, yeah. Yeah, so, and, since she's unconscious, you don't even need to roll to grapple her. You've got her, but if she tries to break away, you'll have to roll opposed. But when she comes to, she kind of coughs up some blood. She sees that you've got her pretty much in hand, and she kind of slumps, and you see just this look of defeat on her face. Erdon and Dice, what do you guys want to do? So you see her falling, and then you just see this hammer just and hit her. And she just starts falling. As she's falling, just hits her, and she hits the ground unconscious. By the way, Durgan, the hammer lands with a thud right next to you. And, so that's what you guys see. What do you want to do?
Dice will land, and it looks like there's just a massive amount of wind directly underneath his feet as he's just slowly lowering down. It's just enough to just keep him elevated. And then it dissipates, and he kind of falls the last 6 inches down to the floor and just walks up to the unconscious woman. On his face, and I've selected from the comments, you'll see a black mark. And the picture that I'm going to show you is not a black mark, because it will be kind of what it looks like in the end. This is the scar that is appearing on Dice's kind of lips on the left side of his mouth, and but currently it's just completely black. And this is a scar of frostbite for anyone who would be able to check. What happened was, in the middle of his icy spell, the Nova went off, the thunder strike went off, and blasted that ice right back into his face and froze it there, sealing it immediately. So
awesome, great pick. Who suggested that one?
Multiple, actually. This is Jacob Kane recommended Frostbite Mark. It has to be is what he said. And also Harrison Ford Lip Scar. So lip kind of.
Oh, okay.
Was
cool.
Inspired, and that was I Roll Ones. That's the person who recommended that.
Awesome.
Me too.
Cool.
Yeah,
I like it, dude.
Sweet.
And I would probably also, I was flying toward the ground, and I would slow my fall now that Una has freed herself, and I'm still smarting from the blow to the face. But I am, you would also see this sort of wind underneath me, except I would look like I am like almost I'm on an axis at the waist, and my legs are about to I'm like about to go upside down, and I'm just looking very uneasy, and I land, and as soon as my feet touch the ground, I drop to my knees and just kind of put my head down, and I vomit. And that's it.
All right, you guys are together again after surviving the elevator fall, and sort of approaching around you, you see a bunch of repository workers in their leather aprons and their gauntlets, and they all kind of like lift goggles off of their heads as they come over, and they're like looking at the elevator just with shock, and they look at you all and they're just like can't even believe what they're seeing. Like they saw the elevator falling, and then they saw all of you just kind of floating out of it, and then the elevator just smashed on the ground. So they're just in complete disbelief at the display of magic that you showed.
Durgan would kind of look around and pick up his hammer and say, "It's surprisingly light, and it's really well balanced." Kind of brandishing it, like swinging it in the air, so happy.
Brasswick would be like, Durgan, get your butt over here. Quit playing around and help me tie her up.
Aye.
Here's Daddy to ruin your fun, Durgan.
As my guy's kind of struggling to keep his chubby digits wrapped around her, you know. Does anybody have a rope?
Dice will kind of look on himself and no, but he looks down at his military uniform, which kind of looks like almost a 18th, 19th century uniform, a green color, and he, in another symbolic way that his past is just being torn away from him constantly and being replaced with new marks like the one currently on his face. He tears a strand from the pocket off, and it rips in a long fashion where the rank insignia would go. Actually, that's a good place. Tears the rank insignia off and hands it to Brasswick.
All right. So I will then try to start tying her up, assuming she won't put up too much of a fight with all of us surrounding her.
Yeah, she, after being dropped to no strength whatsoever and then revived, she doesn't really have a whole lot of vitality left to resist, and so she's not happy about it. She kind of pulls her hands away at first, but you yank them back and tie her up, and she is bound. And she actually kind of spits at your feet, Brasswick, and she says, "You might as well just kill me now."
Not this again.
Again, what are you talking about?
I turn to Erdon, and I say, "You're well versed with dealing with prisoners, I would assume."
Well, what do you want? We tie her up, and I slowly kind of draw myself up, and I go over to my pack, and I say, "You'll need more than that." And I pull out a rope, and as I walk toward him with this rope, I kind of slap Dice on the shoulder in the spot where he has torn his uniform, and I throw the rope towards you. Brasswick.
Oh. So, yeah, I'll take the rope, and I'll be like, you could have brought this over here about 10 seconds ago, 20 seconds ago, when you saw me tying her up with a piece of clothing. Way to go, Erdon. Way to go.
I kind of stare dully at Brasswick, and then I launch my...
Can I make a deck save to move?
No, I turn my head to the side.
She, as you're tying her up, Brasswick, she kind of like looks over and she sees that she's landed on her lyre, and it's sitting beside her, and it's completely shattered. All the strings are broken, and she looks at it, and her shoulders just kind of slump, and she shakes her head, and just almost like this was the last straw for her. She just kind of loses all sort of strength or vigor in her as she sees the broken lyre. She lets out a sigh.
Who are you?
I am Una Strongsung, a chiefess of the Gevalt. I was ordered to bring the corruptor your heads.
Surely by now he must realize it's going to take more than this to take us down.
I believe he may have underestimated you. Yes.
Again? Underestimate us again.
I turned to Durgan and put my hand up. High five!
Absolutely.
Dwarven fist bump.
Yeah.
I would say I don't think she's going to be giving us any information. I say we bring him her head, and I draw my sword and I look to my brothers in arms here.
As he raises his sword, I quickly jump in the way and put both my hands up against the bottom of his hand. I'm like, no, we can't do that. That's murder.
Exactly.
That's not honorable.
She looks at you, Eridon, and she goes, "Let the elf do it. I was going to murder all of you."
You see?
But we were able to defend ourselves. We can't just innocently take her life without a trial. I turn to Durgan, and I say, what are the customs here exactly for how to handle this?
It's all going to end the same way. One option just has a bunch of talking before they lop off my head. You might as well just be done with it.
No. See, she's not afraid of death. But there is something that she is afraid of, right? Right? And Dice will look at her and say, the corruptor. He would do things to you far worse than merely lop off your head, as you say, right?
And you see the the strength in her eyes kind of wavers a little bit, and she looks at you, Dice, and she says, I have seen him do far worse, yes.
I'll tell you what. And Dice looks at his provoker friends, as if to kind of a glance that would say, here's this offer. Let me know what you guys think. You tell us everything you know about Falhast, the Shade Vale, about your band of misfits, about the corruptor himself, everything. And worst case scenario, we lop off your head right now. And he says, best case, well, maybe you live. And I'd like to make an intimidate check.
Yeah, go for it.
That is a total of 20.
I'm not even going to roll opposed. There's a moment of silence as she seems to contemplate your offer. And, Dice, you almost get the sense that she's been waiting for an excuse to do this. And she says, I will tell you what I know, but he does not tell us much.
Go on.
Well, ask your questions. What do you want to know about? Falhast, Shade Vale? I know nothing. I know Falhast will fall in 3 weeks. And all he told me was he had business in Shade Vale, whatever that means.
Where is he?
Well, as far as I know, he's heading for Shade Vale, or already there.
And Dice looks at Iridon.
So would Durgan.
I, instinctively kind of grasp my sword and move it, raise it just a little more, and then quickly put it down. And I say, take her head off and be done with it. Let's get to Shade Vale.
Wait.
Throw my sword down in the ground. Yeah, I just throw it down in frustration.
What kind of numbers can we expect to see there?
At Falhast?
Shade Vale.
Shade
Oh,
Vale.
it's Shade Vale. I do not know. I know nothing of your lands, other than that they have fallen easily enough.
Okay, how about Falhast then?
Maybe 10, 15,000.
Dice's eyes widen. His jaw loosens. 15,000.
She looks at Dice. People of the Gavalt are not farmers. We are not blacksmiths. We are not cobblers or tradesmen. We are warriors. And the Corruptor has spent the last decade uniting the tribes. So yes, we are 10 to 15,000 strong, marching on your lands, burning as we go.
And who is this Corruptor?
In truth, I don't know. But I can tell you my beliefs. About 20 years ago, 2 Convokers came to the wilds of Gavalt. I was just a girl at the time. I don't remember much, but I remember them flying in on their great winged beasts and telling us that they had come from the north to investigate, to learn. They didn't tell us what. At that time, there was something of a cult within my people. Our shamans were receiving visions. Not vague visions of shapes and colors and sounds. These were vivid, real visions of the people of Gavalt taking back the lands that once belonged to us. And at the head of our armies, a being known as the Corruptor. So we began praying, and we began waiting. And 5 years after the Convokers disappeared into the far south, a man walked out of the swamps, bedecked in black armor, and he called himself the Corruptor. He killed anyone who did not submit. He took our crowns by force. He gave us no option but to march. I was one of the last to submit to his rule. My people fought him for a time. Many of us died fighting this man. But I gave in just as the others did. And for my strength and for my stubbornness, he gave me a place of honor at his side.
Honor.
That is what I know.
I think you confuse the word honor with the word purpose. Maybe he gave you a purpose.
I have done much in service to the Corruptor. Killed many.
Dice looks to Brasswick. My friend, do you have any more questions before I extend to her an offer?
I think we may have gotten all we can from her. I can't sit here and watch this, though. Pardon me, guys. And I kind of push my way through, make sure that as I do it, I kind of shove Aerdon out of my way. And it's very clear that I am not comfortable with this.
She looks at Dice, and then she looks to the blade that Aerdon dropped to the dirt, and she looks up at him and she says, "My people have lost their way. I have lost my way. But they will not stop marching down the path they have chosen. I am ready to go through the fields of blood and bone with my comrades."
I know. Dice will reach into his pocket and he pulls out a wooden 20-sided die.
Mm-hmm.
And he hands it to her. And he says, "Roll it."
She grabs it with her bound hands. What is this?
We are not... Well, I don't think anybody here, myself included, the highest kings sitting upon the most beautiful thrones, I don't think anybody has the ability to judge whether or not you leave here today. So, and he looks to Durgan, and he kind of looks at maybe the faded or rusted symbol of Tritherion there upon Durgan. And then he looks to Brasswick as he walks away. And the cat kind of meows while running down the hall. And he says, the cat Tritherion. And he says, so we'll let the gods, or whatever you would like to call them, we'll let them decide. And he looks at the die.
And this die has a 20 and a 1 and nothing else, right?
Actually, by this time, he has carved all the numbers into it.
Okay. So she looks at the die and she looks up at you. She kind of shakes her head and rolls it across the dirt. And a 3 comes up.
And Dice watches, almost like in slow motion. You can hear the D20 turn and turn. And he sees the 3, and he looks to Aerdon, who also sees the 3. And Dice will let out a sigh. And he kind of looks to Aerdon and shrugs a little bit. Then looks to Aerdon's sword.
And I go over to my sword. I step on the blade, the very tip, so that the hilt raises itself about a foot off the ground, and I grab the hilt and I say to Dice, "You have a lot of reason to be angry. Wouldn't it feel good, wouldn't it feel right to let some of that anger out?" And I motion and I hand him, I extend the hilt of the sword.
And Aerdon and Dice, you're both standing there as the sword is held out to you. And you actually, both of you, hear a voice, and it's almost like you're not sure if you heard it or not, but it says, "Do it. Do it." And Aerdon, you kind of feel like a burning in your chest where you tucked the scale away.
And Durgan would gently, not grab, but almost put his hand on Dice's arm, and he would say, I'm not saying don't do it, lad, but there's a difference between retribution and revenge.
And what Dice hears is, I'm not saying don't do it, lad. Retribution, revenge. And he looks into the distance and he sees that little girl again. And by this time he's holding the sword and he's looking down at Una's neck and he sees the pulse just beating out of the skin of her neck, and he just brings the sword back. And there she is, that girl again. And at once, his hands freeze and freeze to the sword. And a tear falls for a moment and freezes to Dice's face. And Dice will raise the sword and then collapse next to Una. The sword breaking free from Dice's hand, but not without taking skin with it. But the pain is nothing compared to the pain of being judged by the most innocent, by the person that he holds dear, and he reaches out with this bloody hand toward Una and kind of grabs her by her cloak or her armor and just pulls her close, leaving a smear of crimson on wherever he grabs by her shoulder or neck, and just looks like he's going to say something like, God, just go. And he lets her go, and he stands up and he looks down the hallway again, and the little girl is gone. And he looks to Erdan, he looks to Durgan, he nods to Durgan, and he walks away.
In one swift motion, I don't bother to retrieve the sword, but you notice all of a sudden I have a dagger in my hand. Is Una on her knees, or?
She is.
I quickly wrap my arm around. I just grab her gruffly, lift her up to me, and this all happens in a split second. Take my dagger across her throat and push her body forward to the ground, blood spurting.
Blood pours freely from her neck as you drag the steel across it, and as you push her, she topples back, and she falls on her back, and her eyes are looking up at the sky, and you see her trying to take a few ragged breaths just out of instinct, and she's looking up at the sky, and then you see her eyes kind of go to the broken lyre on the ground, and she sees her blood pooling and flowing towards the lyre, and as her eyes are looking at the lyre, she blinks a couple of times, and then you just see her eyes go blank as she dies.
And I fall to my knees and just, more out of exhaustion than anything else, wipe my dagger and tuck it away.
And at this point, you would see Durgan kind of fumble under his armor absently, and he would grab a broken piece of a giant coin and slowly take it from around his neck. And we walk over to Una, and as blood continues to just coat the ground and be absorbed by the thick stone rift, I would lean down and I would wipe my hand across her face to close her eyes as best I could. And then I would lay the coin so that the etchings on it were on her forehead. And I would take Storm's Reach, the hammer that I now wield, and I would lay it gently and pound it with my fist once so that Blood Mountain's mark was in her head, I would pick up the coin necklace, I would put it back on, and I would look at Erdon, and I would look at Dice, and I would say, fight the greater evil. No mercy for the wicked. She chose this path. We did not. And then I would kind of just kneel and to the best of my ability, kind of quietly hum some prayers so that she would have a peaceful passing into the next life.
Dice will begin to mutter just a quick song, kind of looking at Brasswick, almost inviting him to return to his friends, to his family now. And he sings, "Fortune's lost, the dwarves are running. Those up high can't stop the storming." And he turns to walk away. "Prayers prayed and hopes a hoping, but I can feel the ends a coming. Oh, I can feel the ends a coming." And he just walks away.
As Dice starts to walk away, in order to kind of focus on something else, I look at the tear in his jacket, and I reach out and grab his jacket and pull him closer and start to mend it.
Oh no!
And as I mend it,
No! Sorry.
it's some odd coloring comes in there. It's like a blue, almost like Durgan's beard. And there's a patch, and this comes from the chat, by the way. But there's a patch, and yeah, you guys would actually recognize it as a halfling paladin patch.
Yeah?
Yep, that's it.
Wait,
That's awesome.
sorry. You cut out. I'm sorry. Say that one more time. I'm so sorry.
Oh no! You know what? It's whatever you guys want it to be. Put it in the chat, and we'll go with that.
No, I like it. Yeah, so going off of what Juice said, so Dice, you look down at your sleeve, and it's emblazoned with this emblem that is the Order of the Right-Sized Knights, which are a group of halfling paladins known for their good deeds.
Love it.
That's so dope.
I love how we're just like, it's getting so heavy, and then Juice is like, all right, I'm mending the jacket, and it's just like, yes, thank you for bringing it back, man.
Well, Brasswick he would have been so uncomfortable with it that like he doesn't want to think about it, you know?
Right. Everyone, please take a point of inspiration. That was fantastic. Great role play from each and every one of you.
Dude,
so
Nate, jeez, Nate. I'm sorry, I gotta say it. Nate, awesome job, man.
Yeah, out of character. Oh man, I hate that. Oh, I know.
Dude, that's the good shit right there. The stuff that makes you go, oh, I don't like it.
You described it just because it was so quick. You're like, and then I take my dagger and cut her throat and throw her aside. No description, just that, like.
Yes, yeah. So you guys are standing around, and Una's limp body is there on the ground. The dwarves of Stone Rift are standing there just in silence at what has occurred, and Dagrim is kind of slouched on the floor, and you see he's holding his arm, and the arm is at a weird angle, like it got broken in the elevator. And he sighs and looks up at you all, and he says, "You made the right call. If you would have let her go, she would have run back to the Corruptor. I know it." Almost as if he's kind of trying to make himself like go, yeah, that was the right thing to do. Totally, that was the right thing to do. And he stands and he says, "You all need to get out of Stone Rift. He's hunting you." He sent his best after you. And if they didn't cut it, he's coming for you.
Yes, we need to leave quickly. And I get up from my knees and I look to Dice and I say, "Can you get us out of here quickly?"
I wish, but I'm a little exhausted. It looks like we're taking the stairs.
And Dagrim looks at you all and he says, "I thought you all had a magic portal ring or some such."
What about teleportation?
There we go.
Or guys, there were 2 elevators.
We saw where that got us.
Not getting back in one of those contraptions.
Yeah, Aaron's like, I didn't like it when it wasn't in free fall.
Oh, that was the best.
So I think Durgan would kind of. Right. So who has the rock and how do we use it?
Dice will pull the ring out and he'll say, "Well, the rock, the stone, is at the Wayward Wanderer." And as for your second question, I have no idea.
Dice, give me an Arcana check.
Right. That is a 21.
The ring is, if you're just kind of thinking about what you know about teleportation spells and you don't know a ton, but typically if you do something like teleportation, you have to be touching everything that you want to go with you. And normally what you have to do is you have to kind of picture where you want to go in your head, and you have to think about the sights and the smells of where you're going. And if you can vividly picture it, you can go there. And so what you're thinking is, all right, we all got to be touching, and I got to put the ring on and think about where I want to go.
And Dice will begin to close his eyes, and he'll raise his hand, and he'll put it on whoever's closest to the right of him. We'll say it's we'll say it's Durgan, and he pulls Durgan close, and he kind of nods to him. Brasswick, just hold, touch each other, and he touch each other. No,
Really
and he says, he says, hold on tight. And when everyone's together, he pictures a mug of water that was brought to him at the very beginning of all of this, before everyone was thrown into this fray. A mug of water that was brought to him for him to shave with. And from that, he imagines the table it's sitting on, the flooring underneath that table, the half-orc being an asshole at the bar. He imagines the stonework around it, the collapsed top, the smoke just firing out of the kitchen as mistakes in cooking are made, and he thinks, I've never been such a wayward wanderer in my life.
And as you do so, and you all are sort of standing in a circle, you hear Dagrim say, "Oh, and I'll remember to put the..." And then his voice just kind of fades, and the ground leaves your feet. And for the second time today, you feel like you're in free fall. And you all kind of instinctively kind of shut your eyes, and if you open them, all you see is just blackness around you. But you can feel the provokers around you. You can feel them grabbing onto you, and you're falling. You're falling.
Uh-oh.
You're falling.
Brasswick is freaking out unlike before. His fear of heights, he thought he had overcome until this happened, and now he is just terrified. And he feels a trickle of water run down his leg.
through the buffeting magical wind, you hear and you think to yourself, that's Brasswick. Brasswick is screaming. And you continue to fall, and it may have only been a second, but it feels like it may have been minutes. And you realize that you're cold and you're wet. And as you try to take in a gulp of air, you take in water.
Oh god.
And you realize you're not falling anymore, you're floating. You're all in water.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
And looking around, you see the tiniest pinpoint of light above you. I'm so sorry.
Say that like the doctor says it. I'm so sorry.
What do you mean you're sorry? Where are we?
Is that all dice here?
Yeah, you are all at this moment drowning.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, dice will point upward and begin to attempt to swim, I guess.
Yeah,
toward the
once you orient yourself and start kicking for the surface, you realize you immediately break the surface, and you realize that the water that you are in is only about waist deep for Dice and Erdon, and about shoulder deep for Brasswick and Durgan. You all just come up out of the water, coughing and sputtering, and
Don't you ever do that to me again. Oh. And then I think to myself, well, at least nobody knows what I did.
Water tastes terrible.
this water's kind of warm. The water is frigid, and it smells very musty down here, and it's almost complete darkness except this pinpoint of light above you. And if you look up, you realize you're in the reservoir for a well. The rock faces around you form these kind of cavernous walls, and you realize you're in an underground lake, and about 50 feet above you is the opening for the well.
So is it kind of like a tunnel above us, or is there like an open?
It's almost like the well is like this little shaft, and then it opens up at the bottom of it into this big kind of reservoir.
Well, say again.
There's no way I'll get up there. Not unless you got one of them fancy fly spells again.
Anyone have a grappling hook?
I didn't even have enough rope.
I think I do. Dungeoneer's pack.
And I feel like I've got just enough left in me to maybe do it once more. If you have anything that I could clamp up there or something, I could fly it up and make sure it's secured.
I have no grappling hook. I have a crowbar.
As you are all discussing this, you hear a voice. So you have returned. And it echoes down the well.
Mm.
And if you look up, you see you can barely make out a silhouette peering into the well.
Try to.
That voice sounds familiar. Is that? Oh no!
Something falls and plinks into the water. And Brasswick, you see, it's the dragon scale that you left with Keenra. And he says, "Did you bring me anything, my friends?"
I would probably quickly look very nervous and say, "The scale. I have it. It's special. What do we do?
Hey, well, I guess we give it to him. I mean, it was the deal.
Brasswick, you feel something slither past your leg.
Guys?
What?
I felt something unnatural.
This is not a good time to talk about your emotions, Juice. I understand that
I should
Ilmater is. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Barker.
I was going to say, this is not, we all understand that Ilmater has very strict regulations on what you can feel and what you can't, okay? But just, please, try to keep focused.
No!
Keenra
In the
calls
water!
down. He says, I should mention that you're not alone down there. So the quicker you give me what I want, the quicker I help you out.
You let us up, we give you what you want, right? Right, guys?
Aye, that sounds very fair.
No, we.
No. That
Guys,
is how we're going to play this game.
I think he wins. I reach down and grab my dragon scale. I go underwater. Grab my dragon scale. Thanks for keeping it safe. Give it to him, Eridon.
I look around like, no, we can't. This has power. We can't give it to him.
What good is power in the bottom of a well?
Oh, Brasswick has a point.
I kind of grimace. I pull it out. And as I do, as soon as my fingers touch it, it lights up everything around us. Is there anything, I guess three of us have dark vision at least, or maybe all of us. Is there anything we can see down here better with this light? Or
Yeah, as you turn the light on, you see something move in the water, Eridon, almost as if it's shying away from the light. You see ripples in the water, and you see a shape move away from the light.
Okay. I would just yell up, I guess. We have it! How will you get us out?
Here's how it's going to work. I'm going to lower a bucket down. You put the scale in. I bring the bucket up. If it is the right scale, and not a fake one like last time, then I will lower a rope. If any of you attempt to come up before I have confirmed that it's the right scale, it will not end well for you. Now do it quickly. As I said, you are not alone. And as he says this, Durgan, something grabs your leg, and you feel just a vice grip wrap around your leg, and you feel almost like teeth bite into your calf, and this thing yanks you under the water. So you guys just see Durgan, like Luke Skywalker in the trash compactor, just go under.
Oh, crap. Okay. I think Dice would immediately try to go rescue him or try to scrounge through the water and grab him, or reach for anything that he could grab a hold of and pull him up.
Cool. Yeah, and as you're doing this, you hear kind of creaking as Keenra is bringing a barrel down, and you see it lowering down the shaft, and he goes, quickly now, quickly. And we're going to go ahead and go in initiative order. So we're going to start with Eridon. So Durgan has just been pulled under. Dice is moving towards Durgan. What do you want to do? The bucket will be down there in about a round.
Oh, okay, so it's not down here yet. So
Not down there yet.
I suppose I would yell up and say, you need to move quickly! We have it! And then I would immediately try to, I guess I would draw my sword, and I would just see if I can feel anything to strike at in this water. Anything that's not Durgan.
Yeah, give me a perception check.
Okay. I got an 11.
Yeah, you see a dark shape moving underneath the water about 15 feet away from you, and you see 3 tentacles are kind of coming from it, and it looks like one of them has wrapped itself around Durgan and is pulling him towards the dark shape.
Okay. So I would try to stab down with my sword at where it looks like these 3 tentacles might be converging.
Okay. Yeah, so go ahead and give me an attack roll.
Okay. 16 to hit.
Is a hit.
So I splash with my sword into the water here and do
Shh, Vince, be quiet. No.
6 slashing damage.
Okay. You see black, viscous blood pool into the water as you slash, and the tentacles writhe a little bit, and Durgan, you feel the tentacle tighten around your calf as Erdon slices into one of them. Okay, that was Erdon. So, Dice, you are moving towards where Durgan is. What would you like to do?
Meow. But Dad, don't kill them. I would. Dice would just keep scrounging around. He wouldn't think enough to do anything spectacular or strategic. He would just reach down as best he could to try to find Durgan and pull him up.
Yeah, it's easy enough to find him. The water is like I said, only about waist deep. And Durgan is thrashing around pretty violently, I'm assuming. So you can find him easily. So if you're going to try and... Oh, Vince, don't drink my water, please. Oh my God.
He's trying to save us.
Yeah. So if you're going to try and pull him, I'll need a strength check from you.
How about some athletics? Does that work for you?
Yes.
Okay, come on, baby. Daddy needs a new pair of shoes. That is a 13.
13? You yank Durgan with all of your strength. Durgan, you take, let's see here, 7 slashing damage as the teeth rake against your leg as Dice pulls you free, but you are free, and you both topple backwards into the water.
Yeah, sploosh.
All right, that was Dice. Durgan, you're up.
So what I would do is, firstly, I would thank Dice, and then...
You're welcome!
So if we're submerged still, kind of like trying to find our bearings, would I be able to see at least the shape of this creature or anything like that with dark vision?
With dark vision, and with also Erdon has taken the scale out, and it is glowing pretty brightly down here.
Okay.
With this kind of white silvery light, so you can actually see this dark shape kind of. It's almost like skulking right outside the radius of the light as Erdon is slicing at the tentacles. You can see this kind of dark mass where the tentacles seem to be originating under the water.
Got it. Okay. So I think what I would do is very quickly I would pull the piece of the giant's coin from around my neck, and as it was threaded between my fingers, I would hold it underwater towards this thing, and I would just make a guttural sound, something dwarvish and towards Tritherion, saying something in the vein of like Virtu. And underwater, what the creature would see is just 2 glowing red eyes of mine, and I'm casting Abjure Enemy. And what this means is that this creature that I can see has to make a Wisdom saving throw, unless it's immune to being frightened.
It is not.
Okay? And if it fails, it's frightened for 1 minute, unless it takes any damage.
What's the DC on that Wisdom save?
It's going to be 14.
It makes it.
Okay.
With a 17.
Oh. All right. Then I will definitely kind of stand up and back, take basically a step back and just kind of prepare for battle.
Okay, you got it. All right, that was Durgan. Brasswick.
So this thing still has him wrapped up?
No, Dice managed to pull him free.
Okay, I'm going to cast Command again.
Okay.
So at the top of my lungs using this ring, I'm going to yell, flee.
Okay.
Oh, and it's a DC 15 Wisdom save.
DC 15, okay. It gets a 12, it fails.
All right. So he's technically supposed to try and run away from us.
For this round, how many rounds does that last?
That is a great question.
Okay.
I'll pull it up real quick. Shouldn't take long.
You say, was it command?
Yeah.
It's it follows it on its next turn if it fails a saving throw. So I think it just does it for that turn.
For that one turn.
Oh, yeah. So for one turn, it'll run away.
Okay, yeah. So on its turn, that's what it's going to do. That's good, though, because, yeah, you don't want it attacking you. So.
And it'll do it the fastest way it can, like a run action or whatever. It would be
right.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So, Brasswick, that was your turn. Anything else you want to do?
Go the other direction.
Yeah, so you kind of back up against the opposite wall of this.
Yeah.
By the way, movement is the water is deep enough where your movement is halved, especially the dwarves. It's about up to your chest in here. So, you see as Brasswick says, he activates the Convoker ring and says, "Flee!" And you actually, like, debris kind of falls a little bit from the ceiling as this voice booms out, and a couple rocks kind of plink into the water. And you see the tentacles kind of writhe, and Erdon, you're kind of standing in the mass of tentacles kind of slashing down up, and you see him kind of writhe back as this creature kind of moves back and sort of disappears into the shadows of the other side of the cavern. Okay, and that brings us around to Erdon. Erdon, the bucket lowers like right about eye level to you, and Keenra says, "The scale."
All right, yeah, I would not hesitate to drop it right in there, and as soon as it leaves my hand, the light goes out.
Yeah.
And it's in the bucket, and I am also going to back up against. I'm going to back up a little bit. I'm actually going to sheath my sword, or I'm just going to drop my sword in the water here and draw my bow and knock an arrow as I back up.
Okay, 1 second, sorry. I have to look something up that I feel stupid for not knowing.
That's fine.
What is it?
Don't worry about it.
We'll talk about it in the offline chat.
Yeah. Okay. Erdon.
Yes.
As you reach over the bucket and attempt to drop the scale, as you put your fist over the bucket, you feel an intense cold in your hand, like your hand is instantly frostbitten almost, like it's just this really sharp, so cold it's hot, if that makes sense, like it's burning you. And you immediately open your hand and drop the scale, and you see that the scale has branded you. There's the shape of a scale in your palm from this thing, and as soon as you drop it, you feel like this tightness in your chest you didn't even know was there leaves you, and it's almost like this weight that you were carrying it's almost like someone took a backpack of boulders off your back. You just are like, oh, as you let go of the scale and drop it in the bucket, and you realize that you didn't even realize how much this thing was weighing on you, how much potent arcane power it had in it. And so despite the pain in your hand, which is, by the way, 4 cold damage, you feel immensely better dropping it into the bucket.
Yeah, so despite taking the damage, despite being down in a well in water with a strange creature, I almost feel like laughing. Oh, and yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, and as you drop it in the bucket, Keenra starts winding the bucket back up. It disappears into the tunnel, or into the shaft above, and it'll be up there and around, and he'll be able to check to see if it's the right one. Okay, so that was Erdon. So Erdon, do you want to do anything else in your turn? You said you were going to try to move away from the general area of that creature.
Right, I'm just, I guess Well, I don't know if I. Yeah, I think I'm good. I'm just gonna back up. I have an arrow knocked. Yep.
Cool. Okay. Dice, you're up.
I'm muted. Am I within 30 feet of Keenra?
No.
Balls.
Yeah, he's about 50 feet above you guys.
Okay. Then I am going to fly.
Fly, Barker, fly.
Swing away, Meryl. That's for you, Tim. And I'm going to kind of fly up to where the opening, the kind of ground level of this cavernous area meets the well. And I'm just going to kind of brace myself there as the scale begins to pass me in this bucket. And I am going to, I mean, my plan is to ultimately try to detect the thoughts of Keenra and figure out if he's really going to help us out.
Okay.
But I can't do that now, I believe, because I just cast fly and flew up. So.
You did just cast fly, yeah. So
Right.
and you are flying up the shaft of the well.
Yes, I don't think I want to get all the way up there because I don't want them to be all like, "Bam, I'm DPS and you're just a healer," something like that.
Gotcha. You've been playing too much Heroes of the Storm, Barker.
I know. I'm like Jaina here, and there's like Diablo up there, and I'm like, no.
Awesome. Okay, so that was Dice. Durgan, you're up.
All right, so what I would do is, as Dice kind of, flies away, I would look to Brasswick, and I would say, "I'm hurting over here." And then I would, in 5th edition, is it take a defensive stance or?
There is a dodge action, which gives attacks against you disadvantage until the start of your next turn.
That is what I will do.
Dude, cool. So you kind of just hunker down, put your shield in front of you, get ready to avoid attacks.
Full Thrower's Union shield that looks like I made it out of a tin sheet.
Yeah, exactly.
Lunchbox.
Yeah, and I'm going to backtrack here. Dice, you didn't finish your turn, man.
No, I did not.
What's happening here?
As Dice is flying upwards, he hold on. He says, "I'm a leaf on the wind."
Yes. Awesome.
Thank you to I think all the people commented, all the people who commented that I should have said that. So
Yeah.
It wasn't just one person.
All the Barker looks like Alan Tudyk fanboys just wet themselves. All right. So Durgan went. Brasswick, you're up, dude.
Yes. So I'm going to reach over to Durgan, and I'm going to say, "You look all right to me, but whatever." And I will cast Cure Wounds as a 2nd level spell.
Woohoo!
And as I'm grabbing him, I'm basically like molesting his beard. So he's going to take
That's a visual.
8, 9, 10, 10, 12. 12 healing points.
Thank God. Thank you, later.
Yeah. And then I'll get some hit points back as well. All right.
Cool. All right, anything else, Brasswick? You guys are pretty much already backed against the far wall, so you can't move back any further, but...
I'll probably pull my battle axe out now and just get ready for some action.
You got it. Okay. This thing gets to go. Okay, so it is no longer being commanded. You guys see ripples on the far side of the pool. By the way, it's dark now. Like, it is dim light or darker than that, just with the pinpoint of light coming down through the well. So anyone without dark vision is going to have a hard time seeing, although I think everybody has dark vision.
I think so.
Yeah, so I don't think we need to worry about it. Okay, so you see ripples in the water as this thing moves towards you. Here we go. Okay. 2 tentacles come out of the water, and as they're flying towards you, you see that these things kind of flare out at their ends, and you see that there's teeth along the ends of these tentacles, and there are eyeballs inside of these tentacles that are sort of flared open as they're flying at you. Brasswick, you get hit with one of these tentacles.
Ouch.
You are going to take 7 bludgeoning damage and 4 piercing damage. So 11 altogether.
So all kinds of nope right there.
And
Something bit me.
and as it latches onto you, you are grappled by this thing, and it starts tugging you forward towards whatever is at the end of these tentacles, which I'm not sure you want to find out.
Nope.
Okay. That was this thing. Keenra. Let's see here. Barker, how far can you fly?
I can fly. Hold on one second.
Twice as high.
A butterfly in the sky. Take
I
a look.
believe I can fly.
Player's handbook.
I believe I can fly 60 feet.
I think we were all singing a
Duration.
different song there.
Yeah, we were about flight.
Yeah.
I can fly. Wait, hold on. Oh, that's a speed of 60 feet for the duration. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you're up there. You're getting up there, but you don't want to go to the top. You said.
No, I did say that. So yeah, no, I don't.
Just tell me this, Barker. How far away from you are Keenra? Are you from Keenra?
Oh God.
I don't know,
31 feet. No. No. No, I would. You know what? I would get up pretty close. Maybe 15 feet. Maybe 10. Pretty close.
Okay. So what I'm going to need from you is a Constitution save, please.
Okay. Piece of cake.
Why? You mean like because the rope is going to hit him, or what?
I believe that is the 3rd or 4th time I've rolled a con save under 10, but it's actually total 10.
Oh shit! I meant a dex save. I'm so sorry. You can either use that roll for your dex save or you can re-roll. Because I misspoke.
I guess I'll re-roll. That's a 20. But you know what? Can I just stick with the 8? Can I go with the
you can.
10?
I'd
Okay,
like
10.
it if you stuck with the 8.
Yeah, let's go with the 10.
I bet
Okay.
you would, you sadist.
I pulled a Tim Carney. Hey, is it okay if I just get my skull bashed in? Is that all right?
Real quick,
For the role playing.
RP, man.
RP.
Okay, so as you're flying up the shaft, you see Keenra silhouetted by the sun as he's looking down and winding this bucket up, and you hear him just say, "No, you never listen." And he opens up his mouth, and a streak of lightning arcs down the shaft and hits you for 10 lightning damage.
I'm a leaf on the. Oh my God! Jesus Christ!
And you guys just hear a thunderclap, and you see light just kind of like almost like strobe in the well shaft that Dice just flew up.
Wow. Yeah. The dice is struck, obviously, and still wet from the water underneath. It's not doing him too well. He'll be able to. He begins actually falling back down, but he reaches out and he clutches at the stone, kind of the beginning of the well out of this kind of, here's the opening, and then the well begins. He's just clutching right there at the precipice, and he's just hanging on with one arm.
Cool. And as the lightning streaks down the well shaft, you see it hit the water. And you guys are all going to take 4 lightning damage from the residual shock as the lightning sort of flickers across the surface of the water.
At this point, you would see me just kind of shake, and I fall into the water. I'm down.
Oh, shit. Oh, damn.
I disappear.
Erdon falls under the water.
Oh, okay. That's awesome.
All right.
Oh man, we're gonna die in a well.
Erdon.
Better than an elevator.
This is how it ends. All right. So, Erdon, it is your turn. What I need from you is a death saving throw. Give me a roll of a d20 unmodified.
I got a 3. I fail.
That is a failure. Give me one. So that's one failure. 3 failures, and you are dead, dead, dead.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Dice.
Dice is faint, and he looks up through the well. Does he see Keenra's face?
You see him.
And is he 30 feet away?
He's 15 feet away.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to try. I'm going to try to kind of read him. I believe the
Okay.
specific spell is Detect Thoughts, and basically how this works. I have not used this since episode 1.
Yeah, it's been a while, dude.
Yeah. And as I see Keenra, I see that half orc, right? Who's a half orc?
Yeah, Kaldor.
Kaldor. I see Kaldor holding me up against the wall. And my goal is to try to figure out if he's. I want to figure out not only would he save us, but I want to figure out like. I want to find a pressure point in his emotions, in his mind. Like, what is it that I can see and exploit and say, hey, come on, help us. We'll do whatever you need. Okay, so... All right, so I guess I just cast it. It's been a while.
And is it a save?
Well, initially I learned the surface... it doesn't look... I'm sorry, guys.
Oh, you're fine.
The viewers are like, oh, there goes the immersion. It says basically that I initially learned the surface thoughts of the creature, what is most on his mind at that moment. As an action, I can either shift my attention to another creature's thoughts, I don't want to do that, or what I do want to do, attempt to probe deeper into the same creature's mind. So I'm automatically getting the surface thoughts, but I also want to make a wisdom saving throw. Oh no, he needs to make a wisdom saving throw. If he fails, I gain insight into his reasoning and emotional state, etc.
Okay, so on the first turn you get surface thoughts. After that, he's got to make a save for you to get deeper.
I can actually do it on this turn.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, so I'll do surface thoughts first. So immediately when you go into his mind, you don't sense any maliciousness. You don't sense any rage, any anger. All you sense is just cold, calculating businessman. He's just seeing a deal through. Is what you get from it. Like, he wants the scale, and you don't sense that he wishes any violence upon you one way or the other, but he's just doing what he thinks is best for his business. So now he's got to make a wisdom saving throw for you to probe a little deeper.
14.
14. Oh, he totally fails it. I just rolled a 2. Okay, so what you see, Dice, is you get a flash, and it's somewhere you have never been before. It's warm, and you feel the warmth of the sun and the dryness in the air, and you see what looks to be Keenra, but he's smaller. His scales still have their shine, and he still has both of his eyes. One of them isn't scarred, tissued shut. And he's standing there, and he's wearing these fine robes, not like the ratty cloak that he's wearing now. And he's standing there, and he's looking out at the sea, this glittering sea. And someone comes up behind him, and this person is also a dragonborn, a a brass-scaled dragonborn. And he walks up beside Keenra, and he says, "You are going, then? Across the wide sea? Through the bleak?" And Keenra looks at him, and he says, "Yes. I'm going to find what was lost to our people long ago." And Dice, you're back in the well, and you're looking at Keenra.
Has he received the scale yet?
He is getting it back up, and he's got the bucket, and he's reaching into the bucket.
And Dice will look up into his eye and say, "You are better than this." And Dice will look down at the water below, and he'll look back up at Keenra and say, "We all have something we want, need." And he sees that blonde girl circling the well. "But you don't have to do this in order to get it. Please."
Keenra, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I know you just enough to know that maybe, just maybe, you don't want to do this.
Keenra looks at you with his good eye, Dice. His good eye is shining, and he reaches into the bucket, and you see as his hand closes around the scale, that good eye closes, and he pulls the scale out, and he looks at you, Dice. And he says, "No, you're right. I don't have to do this. But it got me what I wanted." And he tucks the scale away, and he says, "Go fetch your friends." And Brasswick, you're actually being lifted off the ground by this tentacle, and then you feel it slacken, and it drops you in the water, and this shape moves away from you.
Whew. Okay, so as that happens, I am going to go over to Erdon and Cure Wounds.
Do it to it.
And I believe that's 2d8 at second level.
Plus your spellcasting ability.
Yep. Okay, so 2 on 2d8 plus 4 is 6.
He's alive.
So 10. 10 hit points.
Okay, so I assume you're kind of lifting me out of the water here as you are casting this, or?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have been floating at the bottom there and thinking of my home and the trees and the warmth of the sun, and all of a sudden I remember how cold I am, and I cough and water comes out as I spew water everywhere, sputtering.
You all right, friend? I kind of smack him in the face a little bit, like, wake up!
Yeah, and I just kind of, if you had me held like with my back to you, I kind of turn around and I grab your shoulder and just shake my head.
As soon as I noticed he's conscious again, I just let him drop under the water again. Just like let go.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I do slide under, and then I immediately pop back up, and I just am coughing like crazy, and now instead of just kind of leaning on you, I'm actually shoving you and pushing you up against the side of the cavern.
What are you doing? I just brought you back.
You did more than that. And I just kind of, as I'm coughing, I let the cough shake both you and me. Hopefully you against the back of this cavern.
So violent.
All right, I just want to say really quick, everybody roll a d20 in the comments. Erdon's getting a lingering injury.
Oh, nice.
Can I just say, too, I never tell you during, you brought me to 1 again.
Dude!
With that
man.
scraping of the tentacles, drop me to 1.
I also just want to give a shout out really quick to JM Rocket 03, who totally just figured out what you guys were fighting. Good job, JM Rocket 03. He said, was Keenra controlling an Otyugh? And yes, he was.
Nice.
Wow. Nice.
You guys, so as the dark shape moves away from you in the water, you see a rope kind of drop into the water from the well shaft.
Okay, before we go up, I'll cure Durgan as well.
Okay.
With a first level slot, just in case he falls off the rope or something, you know.
Yeah.
Right?
So 3, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 hit points.
Perfect. And I will also use my last slot of this level and cure myself as well. So.
Yep. And I will use my absolute last healing spell, or any spell really, on myself. Oh, nice! I rolled okay. 7, 8, 9, 11.
So Dice, you're flying in the well. What are you wanting to do?
I'm kind of hanging there, and I would reach for the rope, and I would kind of slide down it in order to keep it taut and straight for my friends to climb upon it when they're ready.
Gotcha.
And I am anybody who sees Dice right now can see that he is beaten, battered. He is weary. He's at the end of his rope in 2 different ways.
So do you guys go up the rope?
Yes.
Yeah, that would take a while for me, but I'm gonna
I'll go
struggle
first. Get out of this water.
We're gonna check the comments here. See what the first number is.
I saw an 8. Oh, the first number period?
Yeah,
It's like an 11.
it's an 11.
Jacob Kane again. Oh no, conclude almost. Sorry, man.
Alrighty.
What you got for me, 11?
11.
Do it.
Come on. Where is it? No. Da-da-da. I should have this bookmarked based on how it's going.
All around the world, statues crumble from me.
Okay, 11. Oh, man.
Lay
Alright.
it on me, DM.
So, Erdon, you have a horrible scar. You are disfigured to the extent that the wound cannot be concealed. You have disadvantage on persuasion checks and advantage on charisma checks. Magical healing of 6th level or higher, such as heal or regenerate, removes the scar. So it is totally up to you to decide what that scar is, where it is, what it looks like, and all of that.
Did you say advantage on charisma checks or should
Advantage on intimidation. I'm sorry.
Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Whoa.
So I would say this scar. No, I'm gonna throw it to the comments too.
Okay.
And I have an idea, but I mean I took some lightning damage. I guess is what dropped me there.
Right. Yeah. Okay. All right. So you guys go up the ladder, or up the ladder. Oh my God, it's late for me too. All right. So you guys go up the rope, and you all get to the top of the well, where Keenra is standing in his cloak, and he has his hands hidden in the cloak, and he's looking at all of you with his one good eye. And as you all come up, soaking wet, bleeding, battered and bruised, barely on your feet, Keenra says, "I assume you all are too tired to try and exact revenge on me."
I look at him and I just say, "Well played. Well played."
And dice collapses.
And Erdon does too.
When you get to the top of the well, you see the Wayward Wanderer is just a short walk away. You guys were in the well of the Wayward Wanderer. And Keenra says, you must understand that it was nothing personal. I had to take measures into my own hands to ensure the delivery of my product.
So you threw the stone into the well.
Yes, I did.
Smart.
He says, you left the stone with the owner. But you must understand that I sold you the ring. I know how to find these stones. I know where you leave them. I know when you use them. I was quite delighted this morning to know that you had decided to come back. And he reaches into his cloak and he brings out the scale and he says, our business is concluded. Have a nice day, gentlemen. And he kind of like brings his cloak tighter around himself and starts walking back towards the Wayward Wanderer.
And Durgan would sort of mutter to himself and kind of look at the other guys and just say, oh, yeah, I mean, we really sort of deserve that.
Brasswick nods. I agree. We were kind of shady.
I learned my lesson, right?
But hey, I got my scale back.
Oh, yeah! Good for you.
Whoop-de-doo. Erdon says in an Eeyore voice.
So do we want to get that stone back, or do we just want to leave it down there and teleport back here?
It stays down there.
You could fly down there and get it.
How many stones do you think are down there?
One. One that matters.
So, as you all are standing there, you see Rianne kind of look out the doorway of the Wayward Wanderer, and she says, y'all don't look so good. Could you use a meal and she looks you up and down, and a bath?
I could use 2 of each.
She ushers you all in. All right. So
I strut in there while everyone else looks weak. By the way, I'm up to like most of my hit points, so I'm good. I'm just strutting.
So we are going to leave the Provokers there in the Wayward Wanderer.
Awesome.
But before we end things, we're going to take a quick trip to Shade Vale. Specifically the village of Skull Ridge, where the orcs of Shade Vale live. A large orc holding a spear is standing inside the giant primordial skull that he calls home. And he's looking to the sky, and a guard comes up behind him and says, Chieftain, what are you waiting for? And he says, I'm waiting for our new friend. He's supposed to be here. And, oh, 1 second, sorry. There we go. He's looking up through the eye holes of this skull, and a smile kind of creeps over his face as he sees a great winged beast flying through the eye socket of the skull of the primordial. And this great black beast comes and touches down right in front of Chieftain Hivor Blackbone. And the being known as the Corruptor dismounts. He's bigger even than the orc, fully armored in this tarnished black plate metal. And he stalks forward, the leather and the metal of his armor creaking with every step. And he stands a few feet away from Hivor Blackbone and looks down at him. The only man that has ever looked down on Hivor Blackbone. And he speaks through the slits in his helm and he says, "Do you have what I requested, Orc?" And Hivor brings out what looks like a rusted sword with a fine hilt, but a rusted blade. And he holds it up to the Corruptor and he says, "Is this the blade you seek?" And the Corruptor grabs the sword and he speaks a word, and the rust evaporates as black fire coats the blade, like almost like inky shadows coating the blade, sort of flickering up from this blade and dissipating into the air. And he says, "You have honored our agreement. I will honor my end. The elves shall bleed." And that is where we will end tonight's session.
Fuck!
You all right, Barker?
Yeah, I'm all right.
Cool. Cool.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Whoa. I'm not sorry. I'm not going to apologize. You guys dealt with it.
Oh yeah.
Listen, don't you ever pull punches, or I'll be mad.
I'm serious. I will be more upset if you purposely save one of us than kill us. I'm
We
serious.
were good. I think I barely used up all my spell slots.
That is why you guys have Brasswick. Brasswick, if you guys didn't have Brasswick,
Yeah.
this would have been a short session.
Yeah.
It is
That
true.
Spirit Guardian thing was awesome.
Oh man, that's so good.
No kidding.
Wow.
That's like Witch Bolt times 20.
Right. I feel like I find cool stuff like every time we play this. I'm like, oh, I can do this.
And as a cleric, you can just be like, I don't want this spell anymore. I want this spell now. Like,
Right.
It's so awesome. So I do want to say something really quick about the elevator fight.
Yeah.
So Dice, I knew that you had Featherfall and Fly,
Yeah.
but what I was hoping would happen is that you guys would teleport while the elevator was falling.
Oh,
And would
nice.
like teleport out of it before it hit the ground. But I liked that you guys got to have the moment with Una on the ground, so I was glad that you didn't do that and just port away.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but
we
I was
screwed
thinking
the
like,
prep up all.
no, but I was like, okay, I gotta make sure that this is, because I don't want to just put you in a falling elevator because that, I mean, I'm just gonna kill you. So I was like, okay, I gotta make sure
Why
they have
not?
at least a few outs. And
Well,
so,
no, I feel really bad because Matt, when I told you I had Fly, you said, "Oh crap!" Like, yeah, and you even insinuated that there might be an encounter coming up where I could use Fly and just fly away.
yeah.
I was like, "Don't worry, man. I would never do that." And my first thing was like, "Oh yeah, I cast Fly."
No, but once I
On
realized
it.
you had once I realized you had Fly, I was like, no, I can do this, and so I gave the Hellscreamers some spells to kind of counteract that. So
Cool.
And that's realistic. If you could fly, that's what you do.
oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Like if you were a wizard, you'd be like, yeah, I'm out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm out.
but
Dropping
no-
the mic.
You know, my goal was to save lives and take prisoners. You know, and I would never want to ditch an encounter. And really quick, that is the coolest encounter I've ever been in. Like
The
I felt
elevator
like,
fight.
yeah, I felt like I was there. My heart was beating quickly. I felt like a sense of impending doom. This has been the greatest session I've ever played in my entire life.
Thank you, man.
Seriously.
That means a lot. You guys. I just want to have. I mean, I'm gonna say a round of applause, but just me. I just want to applaud you guys for being just the most amazing players in the world. Like, just role-playing your asses off, just rolling with every single thing I was throwing at you, and doing it in a fun, believable, immersive way. And specifically, Erdon, thank you for dealing with the scale for 3 sessions and really playing that up, man. I really appreciate it. I messaged Nate when he got the scale and was basically like, all right, dude, you're going to be a huge asshole until you get rid of the scale because it's going to, like, make all of your flaws more potent, basically. But he just rolled with it and did an awesome job. So
Yeah, I hope some of the friendship starts to shine through a little more now.
Nope.
you're gonna miss that. You're gonna miss that bonus to your AC from the scale, though. I bet.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Yeah, if it was +1 bonus to AC.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Oh,
I do want to see.
Aaron, what about your star?
Yeah, the scar.
Oh! Yes.
So
Now,
someone
let me make you the
mentioned in
big
the
screen. Put it
comments-
back up. Put it back up.
show it up again.
Someone
Oh
mentioned in the
my
comments
God.
that there's a couple things. I'm kind of taking a combo here, but basically I'm picturing. Someone mentioned a tree being struck by like a tree being struck by lightning, sort of. And so I don't know. It's kind of lightning-ish, but it is a tree, and it basically looks kind of like semi-melted with ridges. Each line there is actually kind of like a ridge, and it's like melted. And someone also mentioned that my eye should glow with lightning when I get angry. I don't think I'm going to go that far, maybe, but definitely my eye. I have green eyes. Eridon does. And it is now one eye is a brighter green. It
Nice.
is almost
Yes.
slightly fluorescent and lighter.
That is badass.
It's so awesome. Now, how does it look with your tattoo?
Oh, and I forgot to mention one thing, guys. I have a little bald spot right there.
No!
Aaron's losing his hair.
The viewers don't realize that if Nate's characters are ever bald, he's done playing RPGs for the rest of his life. He said.
Done.
So
I'm out.
I can't throw any more lightning at you then,
Or fire.
or fire.
At least
Yeah.
you don't have an Elrond level forehead. You're fine.
You know what? Rasmic will mend it. It's okay.
Yeah.
Nope, let him.
I think I'm good, man.
Nope, for the love of God.
Fine. I'll invent hair club for men.
There you go. I like it.
Invented hair club for dwarves, hair club for elves.
Fantasy roguing.
Oh my God.
Like, does the scar like melt up the tattoos and stuff and make?
Yeah,
it look
so
like
it's kind of making the tattoos probably a little messy. Yeah,
Awesome.
facial tattoos.
That's awesome, dude. So and make sure you note on your character sheet that you now have advantage on intimidation, but disadvantage on persuasion.
Yep.
Very cool.
Man, we got some creepy looking guys in our party.
My guy's still beautiful.
You know what though? Like you guys are fighting in a war. You're gonna walk away with a few souvenirs, so to speak. So
Seriously.
Yeah. Oh man.
No, that was a really fun session, you guys. It was very combat heavy, but I also feel like we got some really good, really intense role play in there too. So
Yeah, man.
A bunch.
awesome. And then I don't know if the viewers are aware of this, but we are playing again next weekend, a week from today.
1 week.
1 week, baby. We're doing a double header. Provoker session here, so you're gonna have to come back here at 4:30 Pacific Daylight Time next week. We're gonna be playing again.
Awesome.
But yeah, I think that's where we're gonna end the broadcast. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. I'm gonna let these guys do their sign-off, starting with left to right, Barker.
Barker, be a better game master. beabettergamemaster.com. This has just been a life-changing session for me, honestly. I'm not even
Almost a life-ending one.
Hey, you know what? Sometimes those are the most life-changing. But I'm also on a podcast with this guy Matt Click, who's it's called Roll Up and Die, and check us out at facebook.com/rollupanddie. I'm about to go check my Apple operating system and make sure that everything is rolling nicely, so I can post our most recent episode, episode 5, online as soon as possible. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We reached 142 viewers.
Awesome.
Every time we play, we beat a record like that, and
Yeah.
you guys are just awesome. Every single one of you is phenomenal. Thank you very much.
Thank you for contributing so much in the comments tonight too. I'm sorry I didn't get to include any of the interludes that you guys provided on the Fistful of Dice Facebook, but I am going to be using those in future sessions. So absolutely.
Awesome.
Well, I guess I did kind of use an interlude though, because a bunch of people were like, "Have Keenra do something." So I guess I kind of did.
It's because what's wrong? What's with you guys? Why would you say that? Like, why would you bring up Keenra? He might have forgotten.
People have not let the Keenra thing go. They're like, "What about Keenra?"
Episode 1, man.
Yep. All right. Nate.
Yep, WASD20 is the YouTube channel, WASD20.net. Make sure you check out, if you have friends who are trying to get into D&D, I got a new series on how to play D&D, and it's kind of just running through a sample session where I play the game with myself. Erdon makes an appearance.
He does.
Yeah, check that out.
Awesome. All right,
and thanks
Juicy.
everybody for watching.
Absolutely, yeah. All right, Juicy.
Yeah, tabletop RPG one-shot group where you can play in all sorts of fun games with some of these great people and many others. RPGjuice.com where I'm going to put more homebrew stuff for 5e up because I really enjoy doing that. So would love your guys' feedback. And then, yeah, obviously Tabletop Gaming with Juice on YouTube. So where I have a D&D Basics series and some other stuff and a new campaign starting this week. So
awesome! Very much looking forward to that. Yeah, session. I just watched session 0 of that today, and it's really good. So go check that out. All right,
and really, I'm sorry, really quick. I just want to point out that it's very rare to find a person who expands the community as much as GM Juice has.
Oh yeah.
So honestly, man, it is always a pleasure to play with this guy. Check him out, GM Juice. Check out the One Shot Group. Single-handedly, exponentially growing the community. Man, thank you. Seriously.
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you guys.
All
the
right,
Provokers helped that. They really did. So thank you.
Awesome. All right, and last but certainly not least, my friend, Mr. Tim Carney from Tabletop Terrors.
Yeah, so to capitalize on Juice's success, I actually am starting a YouTube channel called Tabletop Gaming with Juice, but mine will have an I.
Yeah.
And so because I will do a good job, and that's going to be my whole campaign, is I will be as good as Juice. And the logo is just going to be a capital I.
The logo should be a capital I, but it should look like a cup of juice. Like you should make the I look like juice.
Oh my god! So if I had time, one of the logo ideas I did have for you, Juice, was this really tall glass of juice, and the ice cubes are D20s.
Dude, yeah, do it. If you make it, I'll.
I know, man. I just time, man. I'm starting this new channel called Tabletop Gaming with Juice. It's taking up all my time.
GM Juice. Got my mind on my D20, got D20 on my mind.
I do want to ask everyone who's watching a favor, and the favor is this, genuinely. Subscribe to all these other guys. Subscribe to A Fistful of Dice if you haven't. Subscribe to Be a Better Game Master, WASD20, Tabletop Gaming with Juice, no I. They are excellent content producers. Watch their videos, like their videos, subscribe, share, and yeah, peace out.
Thank you, Tim. You are a gentleman and a scholar, and of course, please go subscribe to Tabletop Terrors. They're getting ready to drop something big. They're getting ready to drop a huge load on the RPG community on May 1st. So make sure you go check them out. All right, so we're going to go ahead and stop it before I get too loopy here. Everybody, thank you for watching. We'll see you again next week. May your pizzas always be hot and ready.